thought you were gonna
Self perfected.
Let's go! Come and get the news, get some common sense too. Breaking through the filter that's been clouding the view. Step out the algorithm, take back control. No bias, no opinion, just pure gold. Tune in, wake up, it's time to reflect. What's best for all is what we dissect. No spins, no games, just the truth in your ear. Self-perfected, making things clear. So if you're ready to see and you're ready to choose, come and get the news with the common sense view. Self-perfected, making things clear.
All right, test. Hello, everybody.
test.
Testing.
Aaliyah, how's our mics, our sound, our?
I think you guys sound good. Do I sound good?
You
Mitch
sound
is
loud as
Mitch.
fuck.
Mitch is way up compared to Drake. I'll tell you that.
Mitch is way up compared to Cam. Mitch is
I'm
all
up.
the way.
I'm on the up and up, guys.
Way loud. Yeah, I
Can you just
I,
shut the fuck
I noticed
up?
the difference between
Nope.
Drake and between yours and like the theme song, and I was like, holy shit, theme song's loud. So I turned my mic up.
All right.
Turned yours up.
I turned mine up before we started.
How's mine? There we go. Test is approved. We're good.
Still loud as fuck, man.
You did not change anything, Mitchell.
Just go into your
I
mic
bumped it.
settings. Go into your mic settings.
Audio, mic. Oh, mic volume. Okay.
Yeah, just turn it all the way fucking down.
No, not
How's this? How's this?
doesn't sound any different, man.
Can you keep
Better?
turning it down?
No, not better.
Any better?
That's better.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Like good enough?
I think that's good enough.
Okay.
We'll see.
Say.
I just know when you start getting animated, it's gonna get loud.
Oh, say,
Okay.
can
How
you
about
see
this? All right. I now have it at. It was at 71. Now it's at 40.
Wow.
I don't think you're
Should
changing.
I be back here?
Do you know which mic you're using?
No, it's definitely that one. Well, actually,
It's definitely this one. I think you guys just have a.
no, it's
I
like
think you
it's
guys
like
have faulty hearing.
no, it's like peaking kind of.
Yeah,
It's that Gen Z.
Yeah, you sound like
Peaking.
you're gonna make a 100 gex song.
Yeah, which would be cool. I'm here for that.
Oh, I listened to that new Northwest album after you told me about that.
Fire.
That was
Oh,
not pretty
dude,
good
that
to
was
listen to.
bad.
Jesus.
That was really bad. I thought it was gonna be bad. I didn't think it was gonna be really bad.
You know what, Mitch?
But I see why
can-
people
I
would
can,
like it.
I can adjust your mic.
Oh, yeah. I was like-
go for it. Yeah, you just censor me, okay?
Oh.
Play Palantir.
That seems better. Yeah,
Censor
dude,
me.
it's weird. It's like we had to turn it way down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but we're here.
Yeah. It's just what's
Yeah.
going on there? It's like
Yeah.
still, even though it's low, it's still doing that peaking.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
weird.
Well, every time Aristotle comes in my room, he grabs the mic and he pulls this off. He's like, "What's this for?" And I'm like, "I still don't know." And then I'm like, "Hey, stop touching the microphone." He's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because it messes it up on the podcast." He's like, "Why?" And so I'm just like, "'Cause "There's some
like-
cord. There's something with the cord."
Mitch has to learn about signal processing and
Yeah,
pro audio.
I'm just
You need to
working on
spend
my
some
own
more time at
process,
Guitar
guys.
Center.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you need
I'm
to go
just
to
working on my
Guitar
own processing, guys, not my signal audio processing.
Signal in the noise.
Center. Dude, speaking of Signal, Cam, I saw your stream where you watched an interview
Oh,
with the
is the guy's name Moxie?
president? No,
Is
it's
his
a
name
woman.
Moxie?
It's a woman.
It's a president. It's not the CEO.
The president.
She must be like president of the board. It wasn't clear, but they just said
okay.
president.
Why? What's happening? Are they taking down
Oh,
signal?
do you like that? It was interesting,
It
right?
was great.
I was like kind of surprised to hear like a tech CEO talk like that.
the way she was talking was like she's clearly like very liberal like minded, but it was cool because it wasn't like so much like where she's like unreasonable. You know what I mean when I say that, right? Like
Yeah.
you know,
She
liberals
wasn't
and-
like a activist type.
right. She
Maybe
she
she
was
is,
just
but-
like kind of bringing a lot of common sense to the tech world, because I feel like a lot of tech people right now, they're just doing well. She was even mentioning this of how I think she was working at, what was it, Google, right? But she was saying how what they'll do is they'll take all of the old people who were uh, in bed with the old administration. So like from the transition from Obama to Trump, she's like, when Obama's in power, you want the person who's sleeping with the secretary of this or that. You bring them into
The chief
Google.
of staff,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Or you want the person who's babysitting or who's got invited to the baby shower of this high person or whatever. And so she's like, and so you keep those people on your payroll and they're there so that you can get the like quick, like what's happening in the White House or whatever, so that you're close to the policy so that you get whatever benefits are whatever advantage you can get basically. And then she's like, and then as soon as the administration changes, you get rid of those people and then you bring in the new people who are close to the new administration.
And so you're like legally allowed to, let's say, pay the chief of staff on your payroll too.
Not the chief of staff.
Like
The
somebody
person
who
who's
knows
sleeping
them. Yeah.
with the daughter of the chief of staff.
Okay.
Something like that.
That proximity. Okay.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, that was interesting. And she went into, it's interesting too, because like the interviewer, he could have asked so many more questions about that stuff, but he clearly just wanted to talk about certain things. But she went to Berkeley and studied literature.
Yeah.
And she worked at Google, she said, because she needed a job. She wasn't planning on going into tech. But then now she's like, her whole life is about the tech world. She like went into Google and kind of went up the ranks a little bit and then started, and I don't know if she didn't start Signal, but she's now the president of Signal. And she knows, she was working on like machine learning stuff at Google. So it was cool to hear somebody who has experience with that stuff talking about AI, and they were mostly talking about privacy.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like some doomer on there, randomly talking about it. She's like, knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, the cool thing what she was talking about machine learning was basically how they were taking these algorithms that were basically for how can we advertise better or market this to advertisers. Look, we have all this data, we have all this information. We're learning so much about how people spend their time online and what they want to buy and shit like that. And that was machine learning at first, and then that became the foundation for what we now call AI, right? And she was like, how is that? She was asking the question like, how is that intelligence? Right? Like, how are we calling this, which is basically just like, it's just advertising and gathering data for the purpose of advertising, and we're calling this intelligence, right? Which,
But
it was
like
a
I
great
said
interview.
on the stream, it is intelligence, like as in the CIA. You're gathering intelligence. So,
Right.
but people then think that means it's somehow sentient. I think that's the issue. It's like intelligence in that sense,
Right.
Or that it's actually valuable to life itself.
Yeah, and she had some cool points too about they were talking about privacy and like, if somebody uses ChatGPT to plan like a mass shooting or something, shouldn't ChatGPT report that, right? And that was kind of like the interviewer's position, right? And she was interesting because she was like, well, there's so many other things that are not being done to prevent those things from happening. And she kind of made the point of like Columbine, like we didn't have ChatGPT back then. So you can't blame those things for that. And she said it's kind of like one of the last little pieces in the puzzle of the state, government, tech, whoever, having total surveillance over all of our data. So she's like, why blame that and then give up that last little bit of somewhat privacy when all the common sense things to prevent these types of situations from occurring are not happening anyways, And she was talking about, she brought up gun control and like the gun show loopholes and things like that. And
Right.
like that's a tricky subject because I don't even know if I want to go there. It's challenging because part of the reasoning behind why the government isn't even more dictatorial is because people have so many guns. And then
Right.
the consequence of that, kind of like Charlie Kirk said, you know, there's gonna be sometimes violence, right? Dude, okay, I'm reading that book, that Eclipse trilogy, A Song Called Youth.
Oh, right.
And there's this one part where they have these anti-violence laws, and there's this senator who's like pushed that whole thing. And it's like, and the anti-violence laws are like you get caught beating somebody up and they're basically gonna like maybe even just execute you. And they have this TV show, it's called What's It Like? And basically people who have been condemned to be executed under the anti-violence laws, they go on a TV show and they get murdered live, and people can like join a lottery to be the one that kills them.
Oh, wow.
Right. And so it's like all about the irony of like the anti-violence laws, and like,
Yeah.
and some of these people go on there and then they end up going and becoming like murderers because like they get like that,
That high.
yeah, of like killing somebody.
Yeah.
And so it's all about the irony of all that. And it even like explains how like the senator himself, he didn't really care about anti-violence. It was just
Right.
like a thing to put his name on and to like be his thing that gets him a name, and you know, all that, right? And
Wow.
it shows a lot. I don't want to spoil too much, but it shows a lot of like the problems with that whole system.
No, it's also interesting because it's like it's a commentary or at least a critique of how our system here is very much like, you know, it allows you to let steam off in certain ways, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're not allowed to do that, but what if you could do something similar, you know, and get that steam out of you? I know it's in you. Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a whole stream on it. It was pretty good on the signal thing. It was just cool to see that there's like a tech person who's not just buying into the whole thing, and she's basically like, you know, there is zero private. Oh, and that was the other thing too she talked about with Signal. Now, I'm not promoting Signal, we use it, but like I don't know if any of this is necessarily true. She's just saying this, right? But she's saying that Signal is the only app that actually has the real encryption, and they can't see your messages, they don't store the data. And they were talking about that whole scandal, remember, where like the
She was
people
saying
in
it's the only widely adopted.
why they adopt one, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that has like mass adoption. But remember that scandal with like the White House where they were using it to like plan some bombing thing or whatever, and they
Right.
accidentally added some New York Times reporter to it, right?
Yeah.
So then that brought Signal into the spotlight about like, I don't know exactly, but I mean they're basically using it to circumvent the normal rules in government. When you communicate, you have to like record all this stuff.
Right.
You know, like they have to do it through official channels. So like they're using Signal. So it's almost like a ad for Signal, because they were like, look, we can't even spy on the government with it, you know? And so
Yeah.
she's like, if they're doing illegal stuff with it, meaning they're going around their official legal rules, like that's on them. They're bad actors, right? So
Yeah.
but I guess she was kind of pushing back against the whole thing of like, let's get rid of all privacy, because then basically you're just allowing the big tech companies to have total information knowledge about everybody's activities, which is already occurring. And oh, that brings in Flock, right?
Yeah.
Did you guys see that post? I think I sent it, where somebody was pointing out. Well, first of all, I was thinking about this point of like, why are you getting upset about Flock when you're carrying around a tracking device and you're talking to it all day and it's hearing everything you're saying? Like Flock is the least of your worries, actually, right? But
Yeah.
someone made this post and they were like, hey, you guys realize who pays for the new Flock camera every time one gets destroyed? And they were
Taxpayers.
they were showing like the contracts or whatever, and it was like, yes, we'll replace your Flock camera at a cost of $800, and this is for these parts and so forth. I'm like,
So it's literally taxpayers have replace it.
basically, it's just
Yeah.
it's in the contract, right? So
'Cause
it's kind of like these
paying for it.
it's like these people who get pissed off at Bud Light, so they buy all this Bud Light and like blow it up, and you're like, you're just making money you're just paying for
Yeah. Yeah.
and you're
yeah.
advertising for them. Like, what are you doing?
Maybe that's why there's so many of those posts going around that are like, hey, you know, Flock has, you know, all this stuff inside of it, you know, for the
Oh,
tweakers.
dude, it's a Flock.
Flock
Flock's app.
it's a money grab for Flock. They're like, yeah, go destroy the camera.
Damn.
We get more money out of you.
They
It's
just
crazy.
you have to replace it. It's in a contract.
Wow.
It just shows you that the way to change things is through the law, not through rebellion, resistance, violence, all
Yeah.
that stuff, because it only ever creates more problems.
You know,
So was the signal lady doing? Was there like a new update on the system or something, or was it just kind of like a general?
I don't know. I
Interview
just
thing.
randomly saw it. I just saw it said signal president and something in the resonances made me click on it. I obviously have no free choice, so I just clicked it. And in the first few minutes, I was like, "This looks pretty interesting, actually." So that decided to play that.
Because I saw it.
was.
I didn't know much about Signal except just we use it every once in a while, and there was this YouTube video. It said, "Watch these elite tech CEOs play the game Mafia." It's like, what? So it's like Palmer Luckey and Sam.
Oh, I
Altman
heard
and
about that,
Brian
yeah.
Johnson and them, and so they had the CEO of Signal on there too. This guy named Moxie, who obviously must be different. I mean, unless
Well, there's a difference between the CEO and the
Transgender.
president.
yeah. I mean, you never know with the Silicon Valley types. Maybe he's a shapeshifter or something,
It's true.
transgender. But it was so funny to watch because you could tell it seemed like Sam Altman didn't really go all out, so it kind of looked bad.
He didn't want to reveal his power level.
Really deceptive. Yeah, but it was I don't know. It's just interesting to see because like as kind of a PR stunt, it makes them look more likable. You know, they're at this restaurant. You know, they're drinking wine. They're like kind of relatable people, but behind the scenes, these motherfuckers.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
You want to hear something interesting? So on the privacy subject, I sent you guys like a while ago this interview of a guy who created. I think it's called. I think it was called like Samurai Wallet, something along those lines, right? But he created a crypto wallet because, with Bitcoin, whatever, everything is tracked, and so even though it was billed as this idea, of no one knows who's making the
Decentralized, all that
transactions
stuff.
or whatever, he realized that's not true, right? So he created a wallet where if you wanted to keep your transactions anonymous, what you do is you use this wallet, you purchase whatever thing that you want to purchase, and the wallet would combine your transaction with like 8 other people's transactions. And then, so it becomes really unclear what you actually purchase or what somebody else purchased. And then it keeps doing that. So every transaction that you do is just like basically jumbled up with somebody
Yeah.
else's, somebody else's, somebody else's. So there's no clear paper trail of all the things that you've bought, right? And he was saying the reason why I did that was because, I mean, can you imagine like if you went to Starbucks and you handed the barista your credit card or whatever, and then the barista could see everything that you had ever purchased, that would be like, you'd be like, what the fuck? No, I don't want the barista to see that. But that's how it is in Bitcoin and in crypto wallets, right? And so he said, so I made that so that people could actually have an anonymity. Well, the U.S. government came down on him hard, just like basically because of him doing that. They said that he was aiding money laundering and a whole bunch of other
I
crimes.
think they would love that.
and they basically said you can either fight us, because he's like, everything that you're saying is so ridiculous. Well, but you're actually helping countries that we have sanctions on, like Russia and Iran and all these countries over here. So you're actually a terrorist. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, I'm clearly not a terrorist. Like, that tweet that I made is clearly a joke. Like it's clearly sarcastic. But they basically had a judge who was like, no, I'm going to take everything that you said as if it's completely serious, and I'm going to throw the entire book at you. And they were literally just telling this to him. And like, if you try to fight us, not only will we take all your money and like bankrupt you because we're the government, and so we can continue bankrolling ourselves in this lawsuit, but we're also it's a criminal lawsuit, so we're going to make sure you get the most amount of time possible. And so they ended up offering him a plea deal of like, if you just say you're guilty and you admit to all the crimes that we are saying, then we'll give you 5 years. And he's like, well, it's 5 years versus like 80 years. And there's no possible way I could win the other one. So he's like, so I had to just plead guilty. But then they also, the judge was like, no, you have to mean it. You have to like actually mean that like what you did was wrong. And you have to write a statement saying how everything that you did was wrong. Like, you remember
Sounds like
when you get in
1984.
trouble at like school or something, and like, the punishment would be like, write an essay on, why this is the incorrect way to act in class, or, whatever it was. That's basically what they did to him. But he said, it's weird because they knew that he wasn't actually breaking the law. Like every law that they came up with that he broke, of like, it was some fintech thing or whatever. He's like, but I'm not a bank. Those laws don't apply to me, and he would look at, and he would say like, okay, but they admitted here that, okay, I don't fall under these fintech rules. They admitted here, I don't fall under the bank rules. I don't fall under this rule or whatever. And yet they still wanted to pursue this particular, like crime that he did, but it wasn't actually a crime. But they were like, well, because he's, remember we were talking about, I don't know where we were talking about this, but we were talking about neobanks.
Yeah.
Was that
I
on the
did
podcast?
I did on a stream.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. You were doing it on the stream. That's it. I sent it to you because I felt like I was part of it. But yeah, like, but maybe we should talk about that. But anyway, he was basically saying how he wasn't holding anybody's money. He was just combining the transactions so that, but none of the money is like being held in escrow. None of the money is actually his. And they were saying, oh, you owe us like $4 billion because that's how much money that you were in control of. He's like, but I never even had that money. That money never even touched a bank account of ours or anything like that. It literally just passed through our software. And
Oh,
that
like
was
people's
it.
transactions.
Yeah. And they were calling those transactions like that. No, you owe us that money now. And he's like, what? That's crazy. So it's interesting because literally any point of privacy that's like in the digital space anyway, they are completely cracking down on that.
Remember all these guys who would try to tell us like, "Oh, you got to fix the money. The money, you got to have clean, pure money and sound money and all this shit." And like, Bitcoin's the answer. And it's like, dude, I get that the money system is fucked. I agree, but you're not really changing fundamentally anything about it. You're just fighting over that point basically, and there's no way
Right.
you're gonna win that battle.
Right.
Like, it's like human nature has to change. It's not going to
Yeah.
be changed just by implementing Bitcoin. Because, like, hey, if the starting point of Bitcoin was everybody gets an equal amount, that'd be interesting, but it's not. And now, I mean, I wasn't going too far into it, but I saw some points about Bitcoin and how the incentives to mine it are being less. People are shifting from mining Bitcoin to just running like AI stuff. So in theory, I guess it could have been cool, but
I was that point of like, I forgot. Never mind.
well, okay. So on one of the streams, I also talked about. I looked at that.
Oh wait, I
tweet.
remember.
Okay, go ahead.
Policing your thoughts. It's the same thing with the whole idea with those guys who were really into Bitcoin is they just wanted some machine to police the forum basically. So it's like, oh well, we don't trust the government, so if we
Right.
have a machine in place, it'll police all these points of like how we don't have privacy or whatever, how the government is in control of us. Instead, it'll be something else that will control all that, so we can't be taken advantage of. Not realizing like somebody's gonna find a way, or even the way that Bitcoin was built didn't actually accomplish the thing that they wanted.
Yeah, well, you think that people with lots of money are going to sit by and just like be like, all right, I give up. Like, so if
Yeah.
you're not really solving the problem fundamentally, and then you have the average person who's like totally unaware of anything happening in the world.
Yeah. Did you want to say something else? Because I wanted to talk about something else on that.
Well, I was gonna move on to like some polymarket stuff. So if you want to,
Okay. I was just gonna say that point of like the people you think people with a lot of money are gonna just move on. I told you I've been really into hydrogeology just as just as an interest point, you know. And Mitch, I don't know if I told you this, but
I only heard you talking about there was some law being passed about some reservoir in Florida, right?
yeah, somewhat. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Not exactly, but basically, there was a presentation by the staff hydrogeologist in my county to the city commissioner about an injection well. You know, and it was interesting to me because I'm like concerned about water usage because data centers and you know all these sorts of things. And when I watched that presentation, I realized like there's a lot about water, groundwater, and you know rainwater and all that I just don't understand the water cycle, right? And I wanted to know more about it because it's really interesting. It's like, and I was telling Cam this before of how part of like that was part of the catalyst, but also because I've just been reading all the books on our sci-fi list, you know, over the years, it's given me a completely different perspective and interest in like because in sci-fi you get a lot of what are the problems that are going to be really relevant in the future, and in fact they're problems right now but most people can't see them. And the book that I'm reading currently was published in like 2002, and this isn't a sci-fi book. This is talking about groundwater, and he's laying out all these problems about how we're using groundwater and how it just can't handle even the amount of people that are moving into certain areas to extract more water. And he's like, this is not sustainable.
Could you just like I know this sounds like a dumb question, but just groundwater meaning like what 100 feet down, 500 feet down? There's basically
Right.
just a giant
Yeah.
pool
Yeah.
of water.
all the water that's like absorbed into the ground.
Yeah, basically. So okay, groundwater is in a very simplistic term, it's all the water that's in the ground, however deep you got to go to drill it, and also the water that's at the surface would also be considered groundwater as well. It's just
Like in a lake.
yeah, in a lake, exactly. A lake is considered groundwater. It's just that the water table. Let me simplify that even more. It's just that where the land is happens to be where that particular, let's say, aquifer or whatever, where that particular groundwater meets with the land. And then sometimes you're somewhere else where the land is higher than where the groundwater reaches up to. So you have to drill down to reach to your groundwater to be able to extract it out. Right.
I love the way they come up with these names like groundwater.
Yeah.
It's like a word we hear. It's like kind of already in our vocabulary, so it just sounds normal. But it's like they're like thinking about naming it. And they're like, well, where is it? Like, it's in the ground. Like, oh, let's call that groundwater. You know, it's like space. They're like, well, there's just space, so let's call it space. And then there's outer space, and there's this space. You know, there's it's just when you really look. It's like I remember when I was a kid, and I was thinking about this is a totally different point, but I remember thinking about the word garage. And I just kept thinking about the word, and then eventually it kind of like seemed like a weird word. Did that ever happen to you? There's like a
Oh, yeah, yeah, there's
probably a
words like
name
that.
for
Oh,
this
yeah.
phenomenon where you just
Yeah.
keep thinking about it so much that it becomes like almost nonsense, and then you're
Yeah.
like, why is it called that?
Yeah,
It's such a
that's
weird word.
that's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like
Um,
space, groundwater. Yeah, I was gonna call it.
'Cause
It
I
sounds
was
like something
talking-
from Idiocracy.
I was talking to someone about this yesterday. You keep going in a moment, Drake, but I was talking to a guy I haven't seen in a while. He lives in Texas right now, but his family's originally from Mexico. I was asking him like, what's it like there? Because they have like pecan farms. He says pecan, by the way. So, and he actually farms the pecans. So I figured that's a legit way to say it.
He's from
Texas.
Mexico.
Yeah.
It's complicated, but anyway.
They speak
Pecan.
Mexican.
Pecan. I don't know how. That's probably a different word for it.
But and then this other guy was there who's like, He's like, yeah, because he had just moved to Minnesota from New Mexico. And he goes, how far do you guys have to drill your wells here? I was like, I don't know, like probably 50 to 100 feet. He's like, yeah, in New Mexico, it's like 625 feet you got to go down to get water. And they were saying in Mexico too, because there's all these new laws now where apparently, because it's like $100,000 to drill a new well, and sometimes they don't hit. And so there's this whole debacle around now the government actually owns the rights to the water. So you can still own the rights to your well, this in Mexico, but you don't own the right to the water coming out of it.
Wow.
So it's like it's starting to manifest in my section
Yeah.
of the world too. So
Yeah.
keep going though, enlighten us.
Jess was asking what's the difference between groundwater and spring water. So the FDA has a specific designation for spring water, which is water that comes out of the ground to the surface. So, which is very relevant because the company, you guys have heard of Perrier, right? They're a subsidiary of Nestle, right? When they want to find water here in the US to bottle, which, by the way, if you've ever drank Ozark water or Arrowhead water,
Where's the Ozark again?
Don't remind me.
or
Georgia, I
Poland
think.
Spring, or
Oh, Poland
Deerfield.
Spring. Those
Yeah.
ones sound legit, right?
or
They're like
Zephyr
coming from a
Hills.
spring. Yeah,
Yeah.
I bought those.
Literally, like all the water that's on the shelf is all owned by Nestle. They just package it and bottle it in different brands, but it's all owned by Nestle.
That's why it all tastes like chocolate.
But anyway, so when they want water, they want it to say spring water on the bottle. In order for it to say spring water, they have to get it from a spring. So there will be water that's available that
They
is
just
like
harvest it in springtime.
no. It'll be water that like will be the beginning of, let's say, a river, right? Somewhere in this was an actual example. Somewhere in Wisconsin, there's like water that's the beginning of a river where people go trout fishing. It's a very delicate balance for the temperature of this water because it allows for the trout to hatch and blah 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 blah, right? But it's really delicate for the ecology of that system, right? And if you were to extract just 1 cubic foot of water per second, which is like not that much, that's 7 gallons of water, right, per second. If you were to just extract that much from the spring, it will completely kill all the fish and, just upsets the entire balance, right?
So Nestle's like in a board meeting, okay, like how do we get 6.5?
No, they want the full more than 7, but obviously the people there, they pushed back on it because this was like a spring that they had been kind of fighting for decades before Nestle even had their eyes on it. So the people there were just like they wanted to go to some state spring, and the state was like, yeah, we can't do it, sorry. So what Nestle did was they said, okay, there's somebody who owns private land that is close enough to the spring that we can bore into the spring through the private land. And that's what they did. And they purchased basically the rights on the private land just to drill the spring or drill the well. Sorry. The reason why they wanted to do that, though, because if they would have gone a mile away, they would have had the exact same identical water. It would not have disrupted this river at all. Nobody would have cared, right? And they could have taken as much water as they wanted from that. And it would have been identical water, except for the fact that a mile away, they can no longer call it spring water. Because spring water has to come from where the water bubbles up to the surface or a boring hole that's in that spring. That's per the FDA's guidelines, if you want to call it spring water, right? A mile away, they have to call it artesian water. And artesian water doesn't sell as well as spring water.
Actually.
It sounds
Do
better.
they call it artisan?
I always assumed they were the same word.
I thought it was
That's a bad
artesian.
word. I've never put that word through my TT.
But anyway, so it's really interesting because in the book that I'm reading right now, the author is making the point of like the FDA and the state laws and all of our laws regarding water are ignorant to how, I'm going to use the word hydrogeology actually works, or hydrology actually works. It's ignorant to how water within our system actually functions. And because it's ignorant to that, it creates a lot of consequences that then everybody else has to deal with. Because, say, for instance, they do drill into that spring and they extract as much water as they possibly can, which why wouldn't they? Because they're making a profit off of it. That's the whole reason why they want it in the first place. Then when that well dries up, who's left with the consequences? They don't care. They move on. They find a different well. They find a different spring, right? But everybody who lives in that area, the fish, all the animals that were living off of that fish or that river or that fresh water, or the insects or the forest surrounding that river, etc., they all pay the price. The people who are living in that area, who were using that as their source of drinking water, they're all paying the price for not understanding how the system actually functions, right?
Wow. There's a concept in Heaven's Journey. I don't even know what day I'm on. I'm rereading them, but it's like 150 or something. But it's explaining how the mind, the unconscious and subconscious, and how it's like interconnected into the body. And basically, what the ego is doing is it's siphoning off just enough of the physical material to convert it to energy. But it gave this phrase called the death assessment. So at every given time, it has like this equation of this death assessment of like, how much can I harvest without destroying it? Mm-hmm. So it's interesting to me that Nestle would just be willing to destroy the spring. It makes sense though, right? Because then they'll just go on to the next spring. But you would think there would be some actual
but they're not
equilibrium point.
They're not seeing it as like, because to them, the well is still functioning. The spring still functions. It's the after effect of like, well, I took the water from the source point and everything that comes after that is irrelevant to them. They didn't care about that to begin with. They don't care about the fucking fish and the fucking, insects and, who was drinking the water from the river.
Yeah, you can't put those in a bottle and sell them.
No, you can't put fish in a bottle and sell them.
I tried.
And and the author was also making this point of like, water is super fucking profitable. More profitable than products that have water in them, like Coca-Cola or soda water, things like that. Water in itself, depending on the branding, and this is again in 2002, so I'm sure it's more now. They were saying, depending on the branding, you can just literally just take the water from the spring, bottle it, and have a profit margin of like $7 a gallon, depending on how you're branding the water and bottling, etc. But $7 a gallon. And they were also saying there was a certain company that all they did was they didn't sell the water per se. All they did was they created a pipeline from a spring and attached like a digital keypad to it and made it super easy for trucks to drive up and put the water into the tank, right? And so all they would have to do is drive up, punch in the key. It would calculate how much water was deposited into their truck, and then they would drive off, and it would just send them a bill, and they'd get a check in the mail, and that was their whole business model. So they weren't worried about the marketing or putting it on shelves or putting it in bottles or any of that stuff. Just that alone of just having this pipeline. And they were like making $300K, a month just on that, right? And they didn't have to do anything. Like literally everybody else does all the work. So anyway,
okay. So I'm looking at the point of right now, there's so much anger about like immigration.
Yeah.
Right. Like in the UK, it's just like same story happening where there's immigrants killing people or whatever. People are getting upset. And I see all the rage being applied to that point, right? Of like, and the argument being like, these people come to our country, they don't understand our culture. They're just extracting all the resources, but they don't give a shit about our way of life or anything. And I'm just seeing it's actually the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
so regardless of the immigration, this model, like you're talking about with extracting the water and then not worrying about the damage that it does to the wildlife, the people there, it's that's been going on this whole time, right? So instead of anyone seeing that, they apply that to like the immigration thing. It's the same argument. And I'm looking at the point of like, what if you stood for like, if your culture was just what's best for all life, then you can see like this capitalist, profit driven, profit at all costs entity is like an invader, like the immigrant, the colonizer, or whatever, coming in and
Alien.
like doesn't care. Yeah, doesn't care about your culture. And so that's kind of like what human beings are currently participating in right now. But it's so easy to stimulate the mind through whatever discomfort you're experiencing, blame it on, which isn't to say that the immigration thing isn't a problem, but it's only
Right.
it's only a problem in the sense that everybody's not considered equal. So no matter where you go, you have support.
Yeah.
And you have some systems like in America where they can extract a lot of value out of resources and people and the money system. So people want to come here. But then they don't want to, or they don't, it's not they don't want to, they don't integrate into the culture. But they're doing the same thing that the culture here actually represents, which is extraction of all the resources, no matter what the consequences. And to that point you were making earlier, Mitch, about the mind, the thing is the mind was designed with that death assessment, right? So it's not like a living entity making that decision. It's a program that was designed that way.
Mhm.
But human beings making choices, so to speak, following the energy, they're not considering it because they're not designed to consider it. They're just designed to extract resources. And so I just want to go on to the immigration point a little bit more because did you guys see some of the stuff I sent you from Elon, like what he's been posting lately?
I saw some of it. I didn't understand the full context though.
So I want to give you some more context real quick. Which Drake, did you see the stream I did on Polymarket? Did you watch that one?
No, like little bits and pieces.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure how much you knew. So remember that Whitney Webb post? I don't know if we showed it last week or not, where they had made a post saying, you know, we've been quiet for a while because we're working on something, and it's basically like an expose on Polymarket and like the founder of Polymarket, and like, you know, Whitney Webb's typical claim of like, this comes from a defunct DARPA program, blah blah blah. You know, same thing as Facebook. It used to be, what was it, like
LifeLog.
LifeLog or whatever, right?
LifeLog. Yeah.
LifeLog. So there was LifeLog that, you know, shut down, and then suddenly Facebook pops up out of nowhere, right? And it's this guy who built it in his dorm room or some shit.
Same day.
Yeah, same day.
It just so
Um,
happens.
So now they're basically doing the same thing about Polymarket. Okay. And so they had this really long article, and it's like a part one. And the part one is basically like, what's the guy's background and kind of connecting dots of like, he spent time with this guy. He went over here and he knew this person, and he got with Sean Parker, like the guy from Napster, who I didn't know helped the Spotify people. I don't know if he consulted or if he just gave him advice, but
Justin Timberlake?
What?
Justin Timberlake. From
Was he
Napster.
Sean Parker?
In
Yeah.
the
Oh,
in the
okay.
Facebook
propaganda version.
Yeah. So Sean Parker, it's like, and he's actually embedded in all this stuff. It's really weird actually, because I always just knew him growing up. It's like, he's the guy who did Napster. He's a bad guy. He's like some fringe dude or something. It's like, no, he was the guy who, yeah, like in the movie it was like, just drop V and just call it Facebook. That whole thing, right? So anyways, he was involved with Spotify taking over. It's almost like that's what he wanted Napster to be. Right? Like, you think Napster was about just getting free music to everybody, but it was like part one of a 12-step plan to eventually become something like Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so here, I'm going to give you the meat potatoes in a second. So in this article, it's going through all these different points. There's a lot of information in there and going through like the DARPA thing and this. And then they talked about this program. Maybe I should pull it up. Pam. Oh. Oh. Project Maven. Hold on. Let me find it real quick. I don't know if I'll be able to. Give me 1 second.
Oh, for Poly Market, wasn't it like Poly Analytical?
Yeah, I can't find it. I was going to show you the pictures though. Let me just find the whiny web post real quick. Hold on.
I like that you're calling her whiny web.
It's not pulling up when I say whiny web. That's-
I do really like Whitney Webb, honestly.
I know.
Like,
I just.
all the stuff she puts out. It's great.
I actually do like her stuff. I'm just.
Yeah, it's fun.
She was whine. Okay. So
Go ahead.
let me just pull it up real quick.
Is this not it?
Share this tab instead. Yeah, this is the actual thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Okay, because there's something you guys will like. Rebrand of Pam. Where is?
Rebrand.
Well, actually, I think they have
Pam?
the pictures
Pan?
in here.
What do you say?
Let's see if.
Pam.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
Okay, so Pam, I don't remember the policy analysis
analysis
market.
market,
Okay, but look at the fucking picture, dude. This is like their logo.
wow.
There's the A with the triangle in the middle.
Yeah.
On the one side, you got the Earth captured by these rays.
Yeah.
On the other side, you've got the fucking Pink Floyd prism thing, and
Yeah.
then like a supply and demand chart popping out of it.
Right.
Okay, and then over here on the right, you've got Information Awareness Office, which is some other government thing in DARPA.
And it's also got the.
It's got the
all-seeing eye.
pyramid with the eye, and it's
Yeah.
totally looking at the entire Earth, and it says Scientia est Potentia, which I think is like knowledge is power or something, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so or yeah. And so these are crazy pictures. Let me see if they have the other one. There was another company that's involved with all this. I don't see it on here. There's another one that they showed, and it was basically like a stylized version of those logos with like the triangle with like a circle in it, almost could be like an eye or something, right? And this is like a more updated program. Okay, so that was just kind of like fun.
Yeah.
All right, so then anyway, so they start talking about the guy who created Polymarket, which I don't remember his name at the moment, but they said at one point he read this paper by a guy named Robin Hanson at George Mason University. And there's apparently like emails from the Polymarket guy to this guy being like, I read your paper, I'm going to be the guy that makes this happen. And like, you know, long email, like paragraph wise, you know, like talking to this guy. And this is some researcher guy, which I had subsequently listened to some of his interviews, the researcher, some science, you know, some economist, scientist, I don't know, at George Mason University. So anyways, this paper is from 2013. Okay. And let me see if I can find it real quick. What would it be called? Robin Hanson. Okay. Let me see if this is the paper. I'll just show it to you real quick. No, it's not that. Oh, there's more references to him. That's that. Just give me 1 second. I want to find the actual. Ah, here we go. Here we go. Okay, let me share this real quick. So I read through this paper on the stream.
Okay.
This is the paper that the Polymarket guy read and was like excited about. Robin Hanson, Economics, George Mason University. The title of the paper is called Futarchy, Futarchy. Shall we vote on values but bet on beliefs? Okay, so I'm not going to go through this right now, but
What is futarchy? Is that like? Because it kind of sounds like Plutarch, right?
okay. So let me just give you the
few
punchline.
run
No, like
the world.
future, right?
Okay.
Oh.
okay.
I guess. I'm assuming. I don't know. I don't know if you ever
So
defined
democracy
it in
by the future.
But you can look up the word futarchy, and there's a whole concept. Okay, so here's the thing. Remember we talked about this before, but I'm like,
Not
somehow they want to
democracy.
use
Ooh.
Polymarket to like predict the future, or it's you know,
Yeah.
I was like asking the AI like, could this be you know, because we learned about this concept called the wisdom of crowds, right? And it's these experiments. There was like this 1908 state fair or something where it was like, guess how many marbles are in the bucket or something, right? Or in the big gumball machine. And everybody had different guesses, right? And some were way off, right? And very few people even probably got the correct answer. But when they took the average of everybody's guesses, it was like within 0.05% of the correct answer.
You know what's funny is I saw somebody recently make a video where they went and asked a whole bunch of people just randomly, what is the diameter of this belt? And it was like some sort of like timing belt for some machine. I don't know. Right.
Okay.
But they were like, what's the diameter of this belt? And then they would just give a guess and like, 25 inches. No. 70 inches. No. And 17, no. And like, he just kept going around and, it ended up being like 51 inches or something like that. And then he took the average of, and it was only like 20 people that he went and asked. But he took the average of the 20 people and it was like 52. So it was off by one, but like they're all
Close.
guessing like,
They're way off, right? Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So keep going.
So that's weird, right? This is like a principle that's known. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe that's what this is about. Like it's like you're getting everybody in there and now you're like able to predict things or something, right? But when I read this paper, the guy specifically says this is not about the wisdom of the crowds, like his idea. Okay. This futarchy thing. So I'm like, okay. Here's the argument that this guy's making in this 40-page thesis or paper or whatever. Actually, I'll give you an example. So at one point in the paper, it talks about like this idea he has already been explored in other scientific papers. So he gives a link and he's got like a whole works cited and everything, obviously. And then he's got, and also in science fiction. Okay.
Are we talking about?
I was like, okay, all right.
Robots here? Are we talking about
Hold on.
some Harry Seldon?
XLIX. Hold on. Let me get the reference so I can show you guys. XLIX.
What sci-fi are we referring to here?
XLIX. Bruner, 1975. Let me look that up. And let me look. Oh. Search Google. In 1 second, everybody. I know. I'm doing it. Doing the thing. Okay. All right.
Guys, if you don't know about Harry Seldon, you need to. Now, don't you wish you did? Don't you wish you did so you could understand this polymarket thing?
Okay, hold on. Okay, so let me share some tabs with you guys. I'll show you the one that's less interesting to me first, and then the one that's more interesting. Actually, no, I'm going to do the other one first. So there's this book from 1999 called Earthweb. Mm-hmm. Okay, and he's just saying like, this ideas have been explored. So basically, a future Earth faces a recurring attack every 5 years by a massive spaceship of unknown origin. Okay, the ships are vast, robot crewed, and progressively more advanced. So every year another one comes. The apparent goal is to exterminate the population on Earth. Highly trained hero commando squads known as Angels infiltrate and attempt to destroy each Shiva using data gathered through an expanded global version of the internet. Okay, and I'll just skip down, or I'll just read this part. A crucial feature of this web are the cast points, where individuals can wager money on the internal layout of each Shiva and the potential solutions to various problems the Angels might encounter within the ship. The betting system ensures the prominence of beneficial ideas, those most wagered on, and rewards those skilled at identifying these good ideas by increasing their winnings, thereby enhancing their influence on future idea selection. Okay, and I'll give you one more. So this is the other book he referenced, which I have not read it yet, but I have this one.
So this sounds like, to me, just based on that last one, it sounds like, remember how, we'll sometimes joke about like the gateway program and stuff like that, where they're trying to find the psychics. They were looking for Mitch, but they decided he wasn't.
I psyop them.
Yeah, he wasn't psychic enough.
I held back my abilities
That's
until
right.
now.
Like
That's
Sam
right. But they're basically incentivizing those who are psychic enough with money, is what it sounds
Not
like.
necessarily about psychic. Okay, I understand your point. That's what I was thinking too. But okay, let me show you
Okay,
this
keep
one.
going, keep going.
So this book called Shockwave Rider in '75. It's notable for its hero's use of computer hacking skills to escape pursuit in a dystopian future. Okay. It introduces the concept of a Delphi pool, perhaps derived from the Rand Corporation's Delphi method, a prediction market on world events which bears close resemblance to DARPA's controversial and canceled policy analysis market. Policy analysis market. This is a real thing, run by the Information Awareness Office. Right, we saw that logo. A proposed futures exchange. So, for those of you who don't know, a central financialized exchange where people can trade standardized futures contracts defined by the exchange. So it's like any kind of just normal futures trading, right?
Okay, like options and puts.
Exactly, right? Okay, so beginning in 2001, interesting. Based on an idea first proposed by NetExchange, research firm specializing in the development of online prediction markets. PAM was shut down in 2003 after multiple U.S. senators condemned it as an assassination and terrorist market. Characterization criticized in turn by futures exchange expert Robin Hanson of George Mason University. Since PAM's close, okay, let's just look at the proposal. It was to be a market in the future of the Middle East and would have allowed trading of futures contracts based on possible political developments in several Middle Eastern countries. The theory behind such a market is that the monetary value of a futures contract on an event reflects the probability that the event will actually occur, since a market's actors rationally bid a contract either up or down based on reliable information. So in this paper, okay.
Question. When it
Yes.
was Pam, who was allowed to bid on it? Was it the public or was it just
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be like people in the Middle East.
because imagine that. Because I can see why they would call it an assassination market, right? Because it would basically be like, some contractor that you have out there in the Middle East, and they're like, we think this general's gonna die. And like, there's
They were saying
$100,000
it could
on
incentivize. It's like almost like a bounty, right?
Right.
Yeah, obviously, right, and that's where like the insider trading stuff comes.
Definitely.
But let me just see if there's any good like highlight points in here.
This is fun.
I'll just explain what I can.
This
There's no
is
way I'm gonna
so-
read all this right now, but
It's
let me just explain what I can.
Mind-boggling.
So it's so interesting because, and then this is going to tie back to the immigration thing. I was talking about Elon and all, and we'll show some of that stuff too. You'll see what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
I had written this post on Substack a couple weeks ago, a month ago, I don't know, where I was saying, and it was just because of some post I saw, and I just saw some different points within it. I was like, oh, at some point, it's going to be argued that democracy is not effective. And I was saying it's because human beings are so unstable in their mind. Like when you vote, you're voting based on limited information. You're voting based on how someone makes you feel, whether you like
Yes.
them. That's why it's so easily manipulable.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying in the post. It's nothing that anyone hasn't said before. But I was saying this will be used to say why we shouldn't trust democracy, right? And if you go and look at the way, like Elon Musk and what's the other guy, Peter Thiel, right? Their whole idea is that democracy doesn't work, and that because the democratic governments, look what they do, they import immigrants who don't care about the culture, they fund climate change, transgender fucking whatever research, and they fund terrorism, and it's like it's so fucked, right? And so when you look into these guys, and I also did a stream on, I think it was a different stream where I talked about the for-profit cities, like the whole thing they're doing with Gaza, the whole thing they're doing there's different places around the world, like the seasteading. We talked about some of this stuff,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
With like Ghislaine Maxwell and like some of these points. Like basically, if you can go start a city where the government is run as a corporate charter, then everybody who lives in that city, they're not under a government, they're under a corporation, right? And so the whole idea when we looked at the neobanks and all that kind of stuff, right? It's like getting around. What I'm trying to get at is it's like instead of being beholden to governments, let's just make everything based on technology and run it like companies and go outside of any need to get permission from a government to do something. And they're already acting in that way. Like the way Uber built Uber was by just going outside of what the legal bounds were to begin with and taking over everything and then rewriting the laws to make what they're doing okay.
Right.
And that's what Polymarket's done, right? They are doing something that technically wasn't allowed. They did it anyways, and then they rewrite the laws and say, well, this isn't gambling, so it doesn't apply, actually. These laws don't apply.
If I could add in here, that in the book that I'm reading, it's describing that they did this with water way back when as well.
Where they kind of just went around the...
Yeah. What the hell are you opening, Mitch?
He's just eating Werther's originals.
The most crinkliest foil ever.
My microphone is improved, guys.
It's just as crinkly as ever. You crinkly ass. That's it. Crinkly ass. Yeah. So they just like that's how it works, right?
Yeah. But I'm just saying it's not specifically only the tech people are doing this. This has been going on for
Yeah.
you know.
But now it's the
decades,
tech
yes.
takeover, right?
Yes.
And also, it's like you see how they all connect. You go back and watch that interview with this Signal president, and she talks about how the government contracts work and all that stuff. So like over time, the tech industry has like gotten embedded into the government, and then at the same time they work outside of it as well. And then you see with the Trump administration, with the JD Vance, and like that's Peter Thiel adjacent, and all these points, like they're replacing everything with AI in the government, and and you got Elon in there, right? And then you got SpaceX IPO and all these points, right? And okay, but let me go back to the point. So, in every way I can see, they're like circumventing the democratic process,
Yeah.
just implementing the technology, make new rules, till eventually there's like nothing left
Yeah.
that democracy has any say over. Okay. Because you're using we're all using the technology. We're all integrated into it. We have no choice anyways. Right.
Yeah.
And what?
Why are they circumventing the democratic process?
Because like, that's what I was trying to explain earlier. There was this speech. I saw like a clip from it with Peter Thiel, and he said like, what they found was that like democracy, it's like you have to go through this slow process of getting everybody to agree, right? And everybody's basically retarded. He didn't say that, but that's the implication.
No, but that's what I'm asking.
Everyone is retarded, right? So
exactly, yeah.
So you can just move with technology and make the things happen. And with that technology, you can also manipulate everybody's perception anyways. They're doing it right now through X with how people perceive like the White House or UFO disclosure or whatever, right? So in other words, it's just like we can just go build the thing we want to do. There's this saying in Silicon Valley, you can just make things. Right? That's like their slogan. You could just do things. You could just make things. I think that's one of those variants, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you could just make it. You could just do it. You don't need permission, right? Move fast and break things is their motto, right?
Yeah.
So, and they have the whole accelerationism thing, right? So you look at the Mark Andreessens and these guys, right? They don't really care about, and I'm not saying in itself democracy has some inherent value in itself. It's just that if you're not doing something through an actual democratic process, then you're not getting agreement with everybody, which is going to create a point people are going to be pissed off, right?
Right.
And do any of these guys actually care about human life? Do they care about humanity? Like they'll say they do. And then we've gone through and looked at the techno-optimism, and you're like, why are you fucking quoting Nick Land?
Right.
It doesn't make sense, right? Okay, so but back to the Polymarket thing, right? So that paper, all right, what it's saying is that, well, let me set up one of the basic arguments it uses in the beginning, which is that he talks about info markets, right? I think that's the word he uses. Which are basically like any kind of source of information. So like, where do people get their information from? CNN, newspapers, internet, whatever, right? And so do these things do a good job of informing us of what's really going on?
No.
Or do they not do that and also manipulate our perception anyways.
Yes.
So he's like, all of the sources of information are not really effective at getting people real information. So when you vote on something, you're not voting based on real information. You're not voting based on accurate information. You're just voting ultimately on your opinions and feelings, right? So that's why democracy doesn't work. And this is what I was arguing in that Substack thing was like, it's going to be claimed that democracy doesn't work because people are so unstable, emotionally irrational, and then they're all dumb, so they don't have accurate information. And my point was, it's going to be like, this is why we need more of like a dictatorship, like a fascist dictatorship. But we also know nobody trusts people. Nobody trusts even the dictator, the leader. So let's just replace all that with some kind of super intelligence that we can all trust, or at least it'll be unbiased. It'll treat everyone the same, let's say, or whatever, right? That was my point. But in this paper, what he's basically saying is, like, all the information sources that are out there, they're not giving you real information. People are not making decisions based on information. And he argues that what is actually a better indicator of things is prediction markets, like futures contracts. And he gives some examples of all these things. And his whole idea is that we should vote on our values. So, like, for example, we should vote to say, we want all humans to have, like, let's say we find some, like, we want human flourishing. Now we have to have a way of measuring that. We're going to measure it based on gross national product, let's say. Okay. So the only purpose of legislators and Congress and that type of thing would be to vote on the values and to find ways to measure when policies are implemented, to see if you measure what the effect of the policy was. Did it actually fulfill things according to the values we voted on? But how do you decide on the policies is the question. Because you can have different ideas about which policy would produce that thing. So if you go back to like that sci-fi, right, where they're like, well, we all agree we need to stop this alien ship. But these ships are like super intricate and complex, and you have to like get your way in there and shut down the mainframes or whatever, like, and we don't know how to do it. So you have everybody on the prediction markets put who, I don't know who, but people generate policies, potential policies, and then you go and bet that one I think will work, or I don't think that one will work. And so when everyone makes their bets, the one that has the highest prediction whatever rate is the one that's implemented. And then the purpose of like the Congress would be to then measure the outcome of that and see, like, did it actually work or not? Because then you would know. So I don't know that, I don't remember the exact intricacies of how they implement it versus measure it and so forth. I don't know if he really went that far into all that. Maybe he did, but we read through it, but I couldn't read every single word. It was quite long. So there was some parts where I'm like, okay, we'll go to the next piece. So I don't have all the exact details of how he's explained to implement it. But the basic general point, anyways, is this is the replacement for democracy. Like, we don't need to vote on policies. We can do prediction market betting on everything. And his argument is that because you're making a bet where money's on the line, you're going to make that bet based on some information you have, which may or may not be accurate.
Yeah.
But in the aggregate, it tends to be the more accurate information is used. Like, why would you make the bet if you really think it's going to be the opposite? Why would you do that? Right? Unless you're just like randomly gambling and hoping you get lucky or something, right? But like one example would be people could bet on like France winning the World Cup, right? Or like winning a particular game.
Yeah.
Now, some people are just doing it based on hope, right? But there's some people who like really study like all the things about the players. What if somebody's in there betting and they know, the head striker of France, he got into an argument with his wife last night because she's best friends with the wife. Do you see what I mean? So that information is like embedded into the prediction.
Yeah.
So their basic point is, according to how information sources work right now, which they're very bad and people are poorly educated, this is the better way to do it. It's not perfect, but it's the better way.
Wow, what the fuck?
And so, okay, that's just some random crank economist guy saying this, right? But no, I'm saying, according to Whitney Webb, this is the paper that like inspired the Polymarket guy to create Polymarket. And he said, I want to create that. So, you know, when you first see something like Polymarket or Kalshi, you're thinking, oh, they just found another way to make money, right? But no, it's like, we're going to implement this technology and get it out there and adopted, and it's going to replace democracy. I don't know. It's never explained, because he's just writing a research paper.
Yeah.
He's not the guy creating Polymarket. So I don't know what's the switch by which we stop doing democracy, or, you know what I mean? I don't know. But
it just seems like you're incentivized to whatever the market says, right?
Well, okay, look at how Polymarket has gotten these partnerships with the parent company of the Wall Street Journal.
Yeah, and like
CNN,
NBC or something. Yeah,
NBC, right? All these things where I don't know. Maybe it's not a clear like switch where like we change the law and now we just use prediction markets, or it's just over time we influence it so that the prediction markets are the ones that everybody listens to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know how they force it. Is there a day where suddenly they go in, they change the government, they change the constitution to use this? I don't know.
No, it's a bet on Polymarket. Will the government change this law? And you know,
And then all the senators are like looking at the Polymarket and they're like, well, that's the one we're doing. Because
right.
I put
There
money
you
on
go.
it.
There you
know?
go. Yeah. Yeah. That
So
would make a lot
yeah,
of
I don't
sense.
know the mechanism, but all I can tell you is it's very clear to me that this is the plan.
Dude, even look at like you know, when they do who will win, you know, red state, blue state. Right now, it's like who's going to win based on who you want to win. But then in the future, it'll be who will win based on you got some insider knowledge. You're now putting your money on this insider knowledge. Then other people are looking at, oh, how did all these previous people bet? I'm going to put my money on the winning bet. And then, oh, I am actually voting for this. Let me vote for the one that I bet on. And then it's just like
You've also got a history though.
Yeah.
Right? Like your
Yeah,
history is there of like how many bets you won. So people could go like, okay,
This guy makes a lot of good bets.
Joe 123 always wins his bets on French politics.
Right.
And he's saying that they're gonna win the election this year. I'm betting on that, you know?
Right. And so then
and these are all taxable events too, just to add bonus.
yeah.
There's that angle.
And then you've got those people who basically, if you're like you're saying, Joe 123, if you're close enough to the stream where you know issues out, right? If you're close enough to that, you're the one who gets to control the market, essentially. Not even like I'm saying it from the perspective of like not as somebody who is like, oh, I know these people who I have the insider information. But even if you are, let's say, okay, remember we were talking about Signal and they accidentally included the reporter from New York Times or whatever the fuck it was, right? So they accidentally included that reporter. Well, you could accidentally have your informant or your insider who's like, you're basically saying, okay, we want to put this person into this position. You did not hear this from us. And, you know, they slide it like a little piece of paper across the table.
Yeah.
And then that person goes and they bet, you know, organically, and everybody knows this guy has the bets, and that's influencing the market. As opposed to just somebody going out and like, hey, we're campaigning for this or that or whatever. No, now people are looking to that guy. Like I could see so many different ways.
Yeah, you can see a lot of points of how, and he tries to handle objections about how some people, you know, like Bill Gates has more votes, but he handles some of these objections, right? There's a lot of it. He has like a bunch of lists of objections that he like kind of breaks down and doesn't necessarily like refute all of them. He just says, like, here's what the objections are, right? Mm-hmm. But in any case, like the point I'm trying to get at here overall is just there's an upgrade to the system that's happening right now, and I think part of it is total information awareness of everything we're doing, so no privacy. and then the replacement of democracy with futures markets. Somehow, it's not quite clear to me how that exactly occurs, other than everyone's just putting their money there. You don't have a lot of money, so you're just like, you have no way to make money other than put it into this market and bet and so forth. So somehow that's going to be how decisions are made at a policy level. And then you've got, for example, remember we talked about Elon posted that video, right, about the that Citizen Vigilante movie.
Right.
So let me show you a couple of other posts just to kind of make my point a little bit more clear. So here's a post I saw. Elon said, Mamdani has built nothing. He's a taker, never a maker, right? Because did you guys see this video with Mamdani
No.
doing his speech?
As we mark 250 years, what do we see? We see a city of contradictions within a nation of contradictions. We see the wealthiest country in the history of the world, one where children go to sleep hungry, while the world's first trillionaire hungers for more. We see monopolies that dominate every industry and oligarchs who buy elections. We see masked agents terrorizing our streets, eating food cooked by our undocumented neighbors before spiriting them away in unmarked vans. We see a nation whose immense wealth has been built by those with calloused, dirt-streaked hands, those who toil on factory floors and chisel into stone. And we see a nation that has allowed so much of that wealth to be held instead in the soft hands of a precious few. As we mark 200...
I mean, the problem, man, is like, yes, correct. However, I don't want what you're offering.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's the problem, right? So you've got that. Obviously, he's, throwing jabs at Elon. Elon says, Mamdani has built nothing. He's a taker, never a maker. Someone says, Elon, this is the moment where you're supposed to wise up and abandon classical liberalism. If you let takers vote, they'll only take more and more. They'll make it more and more rewarding to be a taker, and they will convert more and more makers into takers forever until the makers cannot carry the takers anymore. Universal suffrage, which is voting, leads to universal suffering. And Elon replies, I have wised up.
Wow.
Okay. Do you guys see? And then you've got...
Who is this Devin Erickson? Is there a connection here?
What should be Elon?
sci-fi author. Part-time
Engineer
demon prince.
Oh. Not a cat.
Oh, you gotta click in there. I don't even know how I'm following this guy. I don't know who this is.
Warhammer.
Can you click on his website? Can we go there? Cam?
Yeah. Hold on. Oh, I was looking. I looked up this demon prince thing. It's a Warhammer reference.
It's a what reference?
Warhammer. It said demon prince, so I thought maybe it was a Jack Vance reference, but
Okay.
yeah, it's just some sci-fi guy.
Okay.
I don't know. Just some random guy.
Okay.
Okay, wait, let me go back. Sorry. Okay, someone says it's okay to love America. Elon says not merely okay. Anyone who doesn't love America is a traitor and beneath contempt. Those who don't love America, those who are disloyal, should be exiled immediately.
That's crazy. That is a ridiculous statement.
Okay,
I
I know, dude. Like, let me keep going. Okay, Peter Thiel accused Pope Leo the 14th of 14th. Yeah, that's right. For working for the Chinese communists, arguing that the people's call for stronger international AI regulation would mainly slow down U.S. AI development while China continued advancing. Okay.
He's not wrong though, because it's not like the Chinese listen to the Pope. The Pope is only for Western markets, right, or Western cultures.
What do you mean he's not wrong?
I'm saying, as in, the Pope is not influencing the Chinese. The Chinese
Sure.
are not influenced by the Pope. They're influenced
Yes.
by Buddha or the Dalai Lama or whatever.
But okay, let me give you a take. All of this stuff about like we have to win the race, right?
Yeah.
We have to win the race. If you
Who's
take
we?
into context all the stuff I've been saying,
It's not we, the American people.
it's not we, the American people, the democracy. It's the technology companies
Right.
have to win the race because they are going to implement their technologies that will do the things that they want everyone to do. Like, I'm not saying it's going to be a 100% mind control, you have no free choice within it, but like, we want to get rid of democracy. But look, then they're saying the communists are the problem.
Do you remember the man, it was this whole news cycle where it was like an existential threat to democracy. Do you remember that?
What was the context?
That was the phrase that was repeated over and over and over. The existential
This something
Donald
is a
Trump
threat to our democracy.
is an existential threat
Oh.
to our democracy, right? And it was the Democrats saying that.
Yes.
Right. And what they meant, and who was it?
Oh, yeah,
Mike
yeah,
Benz
yeah.
was coming out and saying, like, what they mean by our democracy is not our democracy. They mean the institutions and
Yes.
their democracy.
It's like, that's my democracy. You can't take
Right.
my democracy, because my democracy is what allows me to implement what I want, because I know how to manipulate all the people in the
Right.
democracy. Yeah, so that's kind of the point I'm getting at. It's like, do I want China to win the AI race? No. Do I want a communistic dictatorship, which is probably clearly corrupt and favoritists and all that kind of shit and like elitist and all that stuff? It's all bullshit. So communism is not the fucking answer, because communism is not even, anyways.
dude, you know what you're saying right now? What it reminds me of anyway is I was listening to an audio, The Design of Choice.
Yeah.
Right? That's a really good one, because it was just bringing up this idea of like, you think you have this choice or that choice. You think you're making a choice of what's in front of you, but neither of them are actually best, right? But because there's this option and there's that option, I'm choosing, but you're not actually choosing.
Yeah.
You're just going with what's presented in front of you. And the real choice would be to choose who you are in every moment, right? Like choosing, okay, me as life, that's what I'm going to choose. And I'm going to stand by that and fuck, what's being presented in front of me, And so we're being presented with like China, Communist Party. That's what you want? Yeah, that's what you want? This fucking corrupt shit.
No, I don't want that.
No, so you want what we're presenting over here, capitalism. You want capitalism to take over everything, right? And you're like, I guess so.
I don't want communism.
I
So
don't want that, so I must want this. And everything's presented in that way. Like,
you've got both sides saying true things that are bad about the other side.
definitely.
Like the communist guys are talking about the problem of wealth inequality in America, and they're right, but that doesn't mean I want to be a communist.
Dude, I think I legitimately believe that the only people who are still on Trump's bandwagon or whatever are boomers, who just really are like, because I'm saying that because I'm still getting sent things by boomers that are like, oh, did you see this Trump thing where he's like a doctor and he's saying like everybody has Trump derangement syndrome? And I'm like, it's not derangement syndrome anymore. Like now it is legitimate. Like,
Now the people who vote for him also have Trump derangement,
Yes,
Trump delusion
yes.
syndrome.
yeah,
Right.
like there's
evolved.
legitimate complaints here. Like it's crazy how you can just continue going along with, yeah, and he's great. He's got our best interests in mind. Like, what the fuck Kool-Aid are you drinking?
It's that stuff with it's the pineapple Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Oh, you know about that?
Yeah, I heard about it. Okay, so you've got the communist thing. Obviously, the tech elite want what I'm trying to build is a little case here to show like they don't care about democracy and everything. Like that's not what they're really interested in. And then you have, remember the Trump tweet where he was like, "I'm gonna go to war with the communists."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Recently,
Right? Let me see. Here's one more Elon one. Here, I'll show you one more thing.
When you're done with that, there's a point that I wanted to make based on what you said earlier about like, how we're making votes or we're voting based on limited information.
Warren identified the deeper problem almost a century before Ludwig von Mises and Friedrich Hayek made it famous in academic economics. When everyone owns everything, no one owns anything. When labor earns the same reward regardless of effort, effort disappears. When prices vanish, no one knows what anything is worth. And not Trump.
I disagree.
Elon is saying true,
No, that's not true.
but he's saying true,
But he's wrong.
but he's also saying there's going to be super abundance because the robots are going to do everything.
Right. So
So I don't. This is again. I don't understand. It's like with the Mark Andreessen thing, where he's like, "We're pro humanity," and that, like just like Nick Land says about capitalism, you're like Nick fucking Land. He's
Is not
literally the
pro-humanity.
opposite of pro humanity. So
you
it's so weird.
I can somewhat make the argument for Mark Andreessen, based on
But he's investing in things like Polymarket and
Yeah.
all these different points.
but like pro humanity in the sense of like, okay, if you read Player of Games, without spoiling it, man. Okay, but basically, humanity can get to a point in the future where we are not like the way that we are today, where we would consider, like, if from our standing point, our starting point, we would consider that's not human in the future. But from their viewpoint, their perspective, they're thinking, well, look, we were so savage back then. I'm so glad that we
You're
raised
saying like
ourselves
modifying the
up.
body? Is that what you're saying?
Modifying the body, modifying the culture, modifying everything.
Because
Yeah.
have you seen?
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like,
But no, what I'm
from
asking
their
is-
perspective, if you're Mark Andreessen, yeah, it's not pro the humans of today, but it's pro human in quotes of like,
Some future version that's nothing at all
Well,
like
have,
this.
have you seen?
Exactly.
Have you seen the company called or the whatever it's called? It's some movement. It's called Enhanced Games, and it's backed by Peter Thiel. Have you heard of this?
Yeah.
is this where they have the sperm races?
No, it's like a free for all
take any
Olympics
drugs
where
you
they're
want.
you're allowed to basically modify the body. Imagine that, and its logical conclusion is this.
Like
called
a dude
Enhanced
with
Games.
like
Look it up.
octopus tentacles, like, and they're like wrestling. Some
Yeah.
kind of, like,
So it's like
dinosaur-shaped
it's like a
person.
no holds barred like ultra Olympics, but you could also see how that could then be extrapolated on. So now it's like a way for you could use what do you call that? The law of large numbers or wisdom of the crowd.
Yeah.
You get 50,000 people trying to compete for this using all sorts of performance enhancing drugs, and then you're monitoring it. It's like, okay, what could we adopt to quote unquote evolve humans?
So without putting too much commentary on that, I'm gonna say go read Player of Games.
Yeah, it's sitting next to my bed. If I ever forget my other book, I'm starting it.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to say is I saw this, I think either Katie had sent it to me or Christina had sent it to me, or maybe both of them. I don't know. But it was this guy who was talking about, how are these people, how are these entrepreneurs able to be so productive? Like, you see these creative entrepreneurs and they're so fucking productive, and you're like, how? Like, they're like a machine. How are they doing this? He's like, because they take a lot of drugs.
I was just gonna make a joke like where they
take a
take
lot of
modafinil.
drugs. Yeah, no, that's one of the. He was like,
What's that one?
but I think that's
It's kind of
not
like
so much a
it
drug.
stops you from needing to sleep. Apparently,
Yeah, that, and then like these like beta blockers, and like he was just saying like,
Sam Altman like macro dosed GLP-1.
right. But that's what they're doing, so that they can operate like a machine.
You know how the
Yeah.
communists say, like, or how they say the communists like hate America,
Right.
but in reality, these guys hate humanity.
yes.
They hate
Yeah.
what they think humans are. They think it's not. It's like, because it's evolution theory, right? So it's like what you are is not good enough. It's bad. It's
And you know what?
Um,
To a certain extent, like, I can see their perspective of like, they're looking at, wow, you are making decisions that are causing this consequence or hurting, in all these different ways, right? They're potentially, I don't know, I'm not in their minds, but I can see the argument for, look at where humanity is today, where we have so much suffering in the world. Like, that's what humanity gets you, is like indecision and causing suffering. You're not really considering how much we can advance and better ourselves, etc. And they don't know how to do that either. Okay, actually, here's a really great a great perspective. Self-perfection, not a myth, right? Bernard Pullman, that audio. Such a great audio. In the beginning of the audio, he says, he doesn't say it in these exact words, but he basically says everyone is in a process of self-perfection. Whether you're here like aware of the destiny perspective and process and all that or not, everyone is in a process of self-perfection. Everyone is doing or believing that they are somehow bettering themselves or evolving themselves or advancing themselves to get into heaven or whatever it is. I don't see anyone who's trying to get into hell. And even the people maybe perhaps who are Satanists or whatever, and they think they're doing the best thing.
Yeah.
They're still,
They're not trying to go to hell. They're trying to basically become enlightened.
They're still
Right.
like optimizing.
right.
For something.
Either way, they're trying to be like, oh, I'm gonna reach this state of like the best version of what I can do, right? So everybody's in this process of self-perfection, actually. And so I can see the perspective or the argument, at least from that angle of, well, humanity is really failed and flawed. And yes, there's an argument for that of like, look, we have, I looked at the number more recently, it's not 20,000, it's 25,000 is, the more updated number of how many people die of starvation every day.
Oh, it's gotten worse
It's gotten worse. Right. Yeah.
because of communists.
Because of the communists.
Because of
Hey.
Mamdani sitting at the desk the wrong way around.
It did look that way.
That was the first thing I saw too. It was so weird. Like
like,
the
why is
drawers
it-
are on the outside. Like, why did you... my only thought was maybe because it's like they're on display, and so he's
Because
sat.
we're sitting at the desk, actually.
Yeah, maybe he wants you to feel like you're sitting at the desk with him.
I don't know, but I don't think there's.
I don't know,
something
man.
wrong
When
with
someone
this.
comes and sits behind or in front of my desk, they don't talk at me.
Right.
They don't give me a lecture.
Exactly. I wanted to make this point.
No, but that thing you said about self-perfection is cool because I just see even more the 8 stages of process audio.
Yeah.
If you look at it in that context of each person in each stage is thinking that they're doing the thing to better themselves.
Yeah.
Even the self-loser, it's because they're like, fuck this system, fuck all of it, I'm not gonna even try. But
Right.
it's like an attempt to not go along with what they see as all the bullshit. It's still
Right.
a try. It's like a form of self-betterment.
Like
Actually.
even like the spiritual people they're like, I'm one with, the universe, etc., blah, blah, blah. They're saying the same thing, actually. They're like, I'm trying to evolve. I'm trying to like move beyond these constraints, and like everyone's trying to do that.
Yep.
So, where was I going with that? What was I talking
Communist
about?
democracy.
Oh no, I was just seeing the point of like, Andreessen claiming he's, pro-humanity,
Oh, yeah.
right? But they don't realize that even what they're doing is having a consequence on humanity. It's like, okay, but you went to another fucking extreme where you're doing the same thing, like you're causing the same problem. It would be like this. It would be like Nestle going like, man, these people don't know what to fucking do with the water. They're just like letting it run and giving it to the fishes. Like, you fucking idiots, like you could be doing so much, and then they're like, I know what to do with the water. I'm going to bottle it. I'm going to give it to people, sell it to people. People are going to love it. And they're destroying the spring in the process,
Dude, they literally, okay, 2 things. One, maybe they mean pro-human, like as in like pro-athlete.
like professional.
Like they're the pro-humans.
Yeah.
But also, I'm looking at the mindset, and it's like,
Probably.
dude, humanity is fucked.
Yeah.
So there's no way out. Like the only way out is technology. We just have to go all the way and try every technology and build technology because it's just no other way.
You're
Humanity
saying
is
that
fucked
from the
as it is.
perspective of like,
Yeah. Like the
Andreessen?
Andreessens and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
forth. It's like they're like, well, you show me a better way like that exists currently. And like that I really suggest people listen to that collapse of the money system audio from Bernard. There's so much in it because he's like, you're not going to solve the problem inside the box. You have to look outside of it.
You know what else? So okay, let me add this in here, because going back to this point that you made of we are voting based on limited information, right? I've been just, man. So part of the reason why I'm so interested in the hydrology, etc., is because I recognize that if I am, challenged by this 10-minute presentation that this woman did, I know the average person cannot fucking understand that, and if the average person cannot understand that, then that means, like, why does she, as an example, why does she have to put up this presentation to begin with? Because when I watched this presentation, at the end, it was pretty clear, like, holy shit, why is this even a question of should we do this or not? It would be like if I was going for a permit of like, hey, can I just murder like, an entire population right here, in your county? Is that okay? And
What
like,
was the crux of it? Drake, I don't think you shared the crux. It wasn't like they're going to tap some reserve or something?
No. It was actually the exact opposite. They want to pump stuff into the ground,
Like chemicals and stuff.
chemicals and stuff, right?
Water's a chemical.
In short, in very simplistic terms, when you have a landfill, right, and it rains, the water goes through all the things that are in your landfill, and some of that stuff is leaching things that you don't want in your drain water, in your rainwater, in going through your what do you call it? Well, you don't want it running off into your lakes.
You just use
You
a
don't want-
Brita filter.
That's pretty funny. That's so comical, actually, because it makes it so clear how ineffective a Brita filter actually is. But you don't want that going into your wastewater treatment. Where it's going to be recycled into water that you're using. You don't want it going into your lakes and your runoff water. All of that. You need to dispose of it in a manner where you can at least take into account that there's PFAS in the water. There's all sorts of
Atrazine.
PFAS.
yeah, atrazine.
One of
Yeah,
the frogs game.
yeah, all that stuff.
PFAS sounds like some kind of Epstein shit.
Yeah,
It's like some new LGBT thing for
So you have to take all that into
I don't know,
account.
PFAS around here.
So one of the ways that they came up with what should we do with that is, if you're a landfill, you probably are thinking like, well, we just take all this trash and we kind of just bury it in the ground or cover it.
Out of sight, out of
dirt,
mind.
right? So why don't we just take all the water that's got all the chemicals and just throw it deeper into the ground? That seems like a
That's like what
reasonable
Mark
thing.
Andreesen, when he made that statement about retard maxing, he's like, I don't introspect. I just retard max.
Right.
It's like
You
the
see it.
manifestation of that.
I
right.
see it.
Don't look
They
at
just
it.
like
Just keep moving.
So basically what the staff hydrogeologist came back and said was like, look, we buried it in the ground. If we make a well to insert this stuff into the ground, it's going to go into our drinking water. And we provide all of the drinking water, not just for our county, but for all of Central Florida, right? So that means we would be affecting millions upon millions of people's drinking water. They would not be able to drink water anymore. And maybe we wouldn't have to deal with it just now today, but it would only take a decade or so before that's the drinking water that we have. It doesn't just go away just because you buried it in the ground.
So, are you saying that you can't just bury your head in the sand and say, well, I'm fine right now. I have
Right.
money. I am okay. I don't
Right.
need to change the system. It'll
Right.
work out. Or are you just accumulating more and more consequences.
So here's what I'm saying is wouldn't it be so cool if more people actually understood that? Like when you buy a house, right? Isn't it true that you have to take on more responsibility because you realize like, oh, this is what it takes to upkeep a house, you know, that I've got to fix this
Seriously.
pipe, you know,
The
like,
AC goes out. I call my landlord, and she's like, "We'll go fix it."
right, exactly. Your
Yeah, I just did that
landlord
last
is
week.
right,
It was
right?
actually so great. I was like, I figured it out. I'm like, damn, this is
Dude.
fucking cool.
What'd you figure out?
There was a leak. There was like water draining out of the side of our AC thing in the basement.
Oh
And
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, where is this coming from? I was using a little ChatGPT, using some TT. And then finally I like realized how to, I figured out what was happening.
Dude.
Went beast
Yeah.
mode. I'm like,
There you
damn,
go.
that was not actually that hard.
So something as simple as that. But if you live in an apartment, right, or you don't own the house or whatever, it's somebody else's problem. You call them, they come and they fix it, right?
Right.
You never have to take that responsibility. And so that's just a house. We live in a fucking world where there's so much to take responsibility for, and there's so much that people are oblivious to, and then they're wondering why. Like, okay, so you don't understand how the water is stored in the ground, or you know how we even gain access to it, or how it's intermingled with this water over here, etc. So because you don't understand that, when let's use Nestle as the example, when they come over on your private land and they say, oh hey, you know, we'll give you millions of dollars if you just allow us access to, you know, that water that's right there, you go, yeah, because it's the water's just there. It's always come out of the ground. What could go wrong? But then when you have children or grandchildren, you know, then they're like starving and dying. And not only just your children or grandchildren, you're affecting actually your entire fucking city, you know? And then those people have to move, and they move to another place where they put more weight and constraints on the resources that are somewhere else. And nobody's even considering, like, with, you know, take out the data centers for a moment, right? Like,
Whoa! Don't tell people to do that.
but remove that from the argument, right? And even just people migrating to different
it's like
states,
it's like, oh, now you care about the water. Oh, now you care.
right? Right.
Suddenly, and it's the problem is you sell this propaganda where they're like, oh, they actually recycle the water. You don't need that much and everything, and it's like, oh, well, maybe they don't. I actually don't know shit about this. I was
don't
just
know.
reacting emotionally.
You don't,
Like, I actually don't know.
And it's really interesting because this book gives like a little brief history, but it's enough to see how this evolved to the point where it is today. Of like, yeah, in the past, it was the law was basically you cannot alter the waters, right? You just have to leave the waters the way that they are. But then somebody came in with like a grist mill, you know, and they're like, well, I need the water to kind of circulate this mill so I can grind flour. Like, okay, so we'll allow you to do that, but the water goes right back into the stream. You know, it's like you're dipping the little mill into the stream or whatever, and it's not hurting the flow. Okay, fine. But then the textile company comes in and they say, well, we want to access the water because we're going to make a lot of money for the community. And then the textile company is like, but in order to turn our mills, we need a lot more power. So we need to create a dam that's going to stop the water flow, and then it'll power our mills, and then we'll release it back into the stream again. And so when that happens, though, it puts in jeopardy the gristmill person, but it's like, oh, well, this is going to make the community more money. So sorry, gristmill guy, you know, you're out now. And then it just keeps evolving more and more to the point where it's like, oh, now the water doesn't go back into the stream anymore either. And the way that we do it is based on who was there first, not necessarily what is best, but this guy happened to get there first, and he's been using this amount of water, and we told him we would never take away his right to do that. So sorry, He's just using the water to, I don't know, fucking just spread it on his lawn. You know, like literally, it could be like, I'm just spreading on my lawn, you know, and but you can't. Oh, but we need to use the water to feed thousands of people. Yeah, but he's already got the rights to it. Sorry. That's basically how it works. That's literally how it works, right? That's just with water. You don't think they're fucking doing that with everything else? Water is something that we all acknowledge we all need to live and survive, you know?
Not Mark Andreessen.
He's like, well,
He
you
just
only
drinks
need...
Brondo.
Have you seen his head? He like stores it up there
Like a camel.
like a dromedary.
Hilarious.
So yeah, people can't read. They're not paying attention. That's what we got to change. So, you want me to show you that thing from Seneca?
Oh, yes. Yes. Wait,
haven't
wait,
seen
wait,
this
wait, wait.
image.
Hang on. Before you do, maybe there's something else I wanted to say along these lines. Oh, okay. Yes. It was just that point of like, because I was telling you this earlier, Cam, like earlier last week or whatever, of just this point of we have, okay, even all the books that we read now, that is part of like the motivation as well. It's not just, oh, I saw this woman talking and she's giving this speech, but if I didn't know how to learn new information, if I didn't feel confident in that, there would be no fucking way I would even touch this subject, because there was just so many things that in that little 10-minute presentation that was just like, I don't have a clue any of what she's saying at all. And I don't often have that experience in my day-to-day life, because there's a lot that I do. The average things I do understand enough where it's like, oh, okay, even if there's a few things, a few concepts that I'm like unfamiliar with, I'm like, yeah, but it's just a small portion of what I don't understand, right? But this was just a subject that I was like, there is so much information that I am lacking, right? That I'm like, man, I want to know about that, and I know I can learn more. And then on top of that, it's all of the sci-fi that we've read where I'm like, I can see where this is going. I can see like really clearly, because sci-fi does a really good job of laying out the problems of today in terms of, okay, let's exaggerate this a little bit, you know, just give it a few more years. Here's where this is heading. And you can see that really clearly with like Asimov, you know, and he's talking about the robots, and you can tell that the people today who are cheering on all these robotics companies and making the robots, they are not, or they either didn't read it, they didn't understand it, but they're not considering the problems, because we're still operating from the same starting point or the same sort of intentions of what Asimov was talking about back then.
Yeah,
You know?
Asimov was like, "Hey guys, if we had these 3 laws, let's see if this would work, right? Let's see if this would help robots, like, you know, do the right thing." Then all these tech people read this and they're like, "Yeah, fuck the 3 laws. Let's just build the robots." Like, even with the challenge of the 3 laws, they're like, you know, still problems. But then the people building the robots aren't even trying to do that. I keep seeing videos on X of Chinese robots like kicking people,
Yeah.
like going out of control and like just like punching and kicking everywhere, and the people are like ah. Like
It's
so they're
really
not
funny.
even like building any kind of like don't harm humans into it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny because like oftentimes it'll be somebody like remote controlling it, and then they kick a kid in the face, and you're like, oh, and nobody seems to care about the kid either.
At what point is it going to be robots beating up white men in the streets of UK? Then will you stand up, Britons?
Right. But anyway, the point being like, I also can see this point within myself of like, I wish that I could have understood all this information, read all these books, had the time, the opportunity to do this when I was a kid. I really do. because if I did, then I could have made better choices with the path that I took as far as like what I wanted to learn, what I wanted to study, what I wanted to uh, become more aware of because of the impact that I would want to have on the world, not because of just the money that I wanted to make, right? Which is very much what I felt growing up, and I know that's the case for a lot of people. Is their parents are telling them go to school, get good grades, get a good job, and that's it. Basically, that's what I was told.
It's like, fuck that, dude.
And so everything that you do up until that point, it often feels like really useless and fruitless, of like meaningless. Like, what the fuck is the point of all this if it's just to like get a good job? Like, well, even going to school doesn't guarantee that I'm gonna get a good job. It's like, and so where's the
What is a good job? It's like that just gives you enough money to
Right.
survive so you can keep going to your fucking job.
right? And also, like, what is the incentive to educate yourself? Like, if that's the starting point, it doesn't make any sense actually. And there was something that you had just shared with Elon Musk saying true. If there's if everybody has access to the resources or whatever, if everybody owns it, nobody owns it, etc., right? I've been looking at this point, which is, if you don't understand the meaning of things, everything is meaningless. Like in the example of the water, you don't understand how the water works. Okay, so this guy comes in and they're also pumping from the well, and they gave me $1 million to do it. So what? So it means nothing to you. You don't know how, like, what the actual worth of it is, even. You don't know how to protect it. You don't understand any of that. And then your life lacks meaning as well, because you don't understand the meaning of things around you. Your life lacks meaning. You're just going around and you're like, there's no significance. You live without purpose, right? If you want to have a meaningful life, you have to actually understand like what things mean in the world, so that you can actually use that meaning in a way that makes sense. You can put things together, right?
People don't even know what the word life means.
Yeah.
Really look at it. Like, they don't know what the word means. They think it means like your experience. Yeah, but they think it means your experience.
Yeah.
It's not what it means.
Yeah.
Also, you said the word waterworks, and I was thinking that's one of those words too. You
Oh,
know,
the
isn't
way
that
water
isn't that
works?
like
Yeah.
isn't that like it's like a factory that produces the water, and they're like, what should we call this thing? It's like, what does it do? It's like,
It works.
water works. Water works now. Like, let's call it that. Waterworks. It's a
Yeah.
place where water works. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
Guess they had to come up with something.
Keith said the area that they live in the West was founded based on gold mining. Almost no one that owns property owns the mineral rights. And what's funny is because of the West, them using water to like mine gold or whatever, that's why they allow for like, oh, whoever diverts the stream first, they have the senior rights to the water. And those laws have basically been unchanged in the West, right? But also, everybody who was doing that at that time didn't own the waterways, didn't even own the gold. They were doing this on like federal land, right? So they were, this is the point that I was saying before of like, how Uber is working outside of the law. They were working outside of the law. They were going there and taking water that wasn't theirs to begin with, and mining gold on land that wasn't theirs. So they're stealing gold from land that was, belonged to the U.S. government or whatever, and altering the waterways, and that stayed in place based on illegal activity, all for profit. So it's almost as if our system is saying, whatever you do in the name of profit is fine, even if it's quote unquote illegal. Like,
It makes
who
you a
cares?
profit. for the
And
system.
we'll keep that structure in place because it leads to profit. I think I've said everything I wanted to say.
Well said. Okay, so let me show you this other thing. Mitch, you
Yes.
haven't seen this yet.
I don't think so.
So, you know, a while back I was telling you Katie bought this like digital typewriter thing for the kids. It sort of has like a sort of like an e-reader type screen, so it's not like a blue light thing, so they can, you know, use it. And it doesn't have internet and stuff like that. You can download stuff back to your computer, but basically it's for like writing, and writers use it to basically just get out ideas like in the moment without too much sort of judgment in the process. You can't easily edit things. You can, but it's not like a Word document. You can just easily highlight stuff, delete, you know, and everything. So anyways, Seneca's been using it. Where is my thing? One second. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so Seneca's been writing on it, and they've got like lots of little files in there. So yesterday I noticed throughout the day she would sit down with it and she would type a little bit, and then she'd go do something else and she'd come back and type for a bit. Not like more than like a few minutes at a time. And so last night she was using it, and I was like, "Can I look at what you wrote?" And I said, "What were you working on?" She's like, "I'm writing a book." And I said, "Oh, tell me about it." She's like, "Well, you can read it." And I was like, "Yeah, no, I was just asking you to tell me about it." She's like, "No, you should read it." I was like, "Oh, okay." So she showed me like how to like use the little typewriter thing, and I was like, "Do you mind if I take a picture of this?" She's like, "Sure." So I took some pictures. It's not a lot that's written there, but I just want to show you. Like, I sent it to Drake, and like keep in mind this is a 7-year-old.
Cam sends me this photo and he's like,
I just sent him one
normal?
screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, is this normal writing for a 7-year-old? And I'm like, let me look at it. Let me read it. And I'm reading it. I'm like, holy fucking shit! Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't want to say anymore.
Well, yeah, I like it. He said no 7-year-old has ever written anything like this. Like, probably true.
But,
So,
dude, read this. Can you put it on the screen? Because like this.
no,
to
read it.
me-
I'm not gonna put it on the screen, but I want you guys to read it.
Okay.
Do it.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
How do I do that?
Good luck.
Channeling psychic.
Okay, so I'll read it out loud. This little part down here, I just because it had Katie's email. I don't know why it's on there, but that's why that little blank is there. So this is where it starts. She lay in a clamshell. She had no idea how she got there, except the name, Aurora. She assumed it was hers, because certainly she would remember her own name and not anybody else's. Anyway, she tried to get up, and the shell wobbled. So she tried again, very slowly, and it worked. She finally peeked over the edge and gasped at what she saw. A wide, never-ending ocean. It seemed she would be traveling for a long time.
Can you just stop right there?
Yeah.
Like that in itself. Like when
I'm already in the story. I'm there.
Right?
I'm there in
But,
that
like,
clamshell. I'm like,
it starts because like if I was gonna write a book, I'd be like, what? How do you start? You know, like what do you
Right.
say? Like, oh, I woke up. No, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. But it's like she lay in a clamshell. You're thinking, why is she in a clamshell? What's going on? Like,
Yeah.
holy shit, dude!
Awesome.
Like, what the hell?
Dude, but exactly what you just said, Mitch. Like I'm already in the story. Like I'm
Yeah.
already captivated. Like the
I'm like
writing
asking
is
questions, like where's she going? How'd she get there? Is it her real name?
this writing. Like I'm like, holy shit! I've never read a 7-year-old's writing that made me want to go. I want to keep fucking reading this.
Yeah.
Dude, I had the
And-
same
and-
experience because I was
and-
like, when I first read this, she hadn't typed anything else out, so I was like, I wonder what's going on here. Right? Yeah.
But like to me, I'm like, okay. When I say, I'm not saying that because it's Seneca or like I'm
Yeah.
literally like I'm reading this and I'm like, I want to read more. Like this is a good story. I'm interested.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I'm
told her
fucking
last night. I was like, "This is really good, Cindy." And I was like, "I'm not just saying that because, like, I'm your dad, and I'm trying to encourage you, and like, I'm saying like, this is actually really good. Like,
This is
I'm very
really-
impressed.
And,
Like,
and so I not only did I say to Cam, I'm like, no 7-year-old's ever written like this, but I was saying as well, like, this is the writing of, at the very least, an author of a series of chapter books that is doing really well.
yeah, yeah,
like at the very least. And I don't know what else she'll do, but like just this little like I'm fucking hooked. I'm
But
like
the thing is, like, we don't teach her how to write.
I know.
We've never sat down and taught a homeschooling lesson on writing or essays or how to write or
Which goes back to what I was saying before of like just the desire of I wish that I would have had the opportunity that which and you know I'm not like a
schools can't produce this.
no like but okay look at the opportunity that your kids have and our kids have as well. It's like dude, I'm so grateful that this is what we're allowing for our children to do because they're your kids just as this is the example, right? They're at home. They've got time on their hands. They can read. They know how to read. They read a lot. They enjoy reading. And they become very creative with what they're, all the information that they're taking in. And this is the information that they just are like, they can access it so easily compared to the average adult or whatever. The average person out there, they are accessing this information with such ease that look at the output that is coming from them being able to actually process information where you don't even have to give them a formal instruction on here's how to write and let me give you a class on rhetoric and essay writing and thesis and blah 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 like or narrative
At 7,
writing and,
she's already read hundreds of books.
yes
I don't even know if I could quantify it. Like even adult reading level, like science fiction and stuff. Just because it's there on the shelf and she has the vocabulary, she can recognize the words. Okay, let me keep going because I don't remember what I sent you, Drake. I think maybe it was just
you
there.
just sent me this
Yeah,
is all you
because
sent me.
that's all I had at the time. But then when she showed me, there was more. Okay, so now when I scroll down like to the next page, like the way this thing works when you page down, it doesn't necessarily give you the exact next line. It like kind of sometimes gives you part of the previous line, so it might seem weird. Aurora thought that. Okay, so it's back here. Aurora thought that at least. Okay, that she'll be traveling for a long time. Oops, hold on. Suddenly, there was a big wave coming toward her, and she cowered in her clamshell boat. Surely this was a dream, she thought, but it wasn't. Suddenly there was a rushing sound, and the clamshell tipped over, and Aurora fell into the foamy, rushing sea. She fell deeper and deeper until she hit the bottom, 8 feet down. It wasn't the actual bottom, it was just the shallows. She hadn't actually been traveling for a long time. She immediately knew she wouldn't survive for long, since humans needed air. But was she a human? I mean, yeah, she looked human. But for one thing, she had been 3 inches tall since she was born to now, when she was 10. And for another, she sometimes had weird things where she did something random magic-like almost. She wrote in brackets, never mind the last part, it was just a demonstration so you would know about it. Anyway, as she scrabbled among the seaweed and seashells and pebbles lining the seafloor, she began to feel like her lungs were burning. So she was right about her being human type. She felt agony for the first time of her life and thrashed wildly and finally got to the top, spitted out seawater, took 3 seashells and 2 small fish out of her hair, and started sucking in air in big gulps. She sure didn't want to do that again.
Wow. That's awesome.
I'm just like, it's crazy. Like, again, because we don't teach them to write. I mean,
That's so impressive.
if you can type and you can read and you can therefore, in the way that they understand things, like when they, like the way they process it, it's different than they're just consuming it, clearly. You know what I mean? Like they're not just consuming it. Because like how many people have read all the Harry Potter, have read all the fantasy series and all these different things and never wrote a thing in their life? You know? And so with our kids, they read so much. It reminds me of like the Cat Williams thing, you know, where he's like, I read 10,000 books before I was 9 years old. You know?
Right.
And but it's like that. It's like they just read a lot, and then it's like the way that their vocabulary is integrated. It's like they're not just consuming it. It's like they can produce it. You know, and I was just reflecting on this when I woke up, like how creative our kids are. Like they're very creative. And creative doesn't mean necessarily, because they're still children, that they're producing some new entrepreneurial thing and they're making billions of, like, no, they're just creative. Like
Yeah.
Max like came to me, he sat down on the couch next to me the other day and he goes, I made a paper calculator. And I was like, really? And he pulls out this like paper thing and he had it all folded up with like little tabs, like little individual cards. And it was like, give me a math problem, like 3 times 4 or something, right? And I was like, 3 times 4, right? And he's like, okay. So he pulls out this one card and it's just got all these numbers all over. Then he pulls out the 3 card and he puts it on. It has these holes punched in it. And then he like takes the 4 card and overlaps it. And he's like, there's the answer. It was like he had made this like, why did he do
That's
that?
cool.
Like, why? He's just bored and just sitting there for like an hour or two. Like he's just at the table doing something. You're like, what's he doing? And then he's like, oh, look what I made. And like they're constantly doing that, right?
Okay.
Like, yes. Oh, go ahead.
Wow.
I was just gonna say, like, that is super fucking creative. But look, if your kids are just sitting watching TV, they can't do that.
Right.
And not only,
Yeah.
and it's not so much he built a paper calculator, but it's that he's using a muscle, let's call it, right, of developing, creating, like going through the process of like, what can I make? And okay, let me start that. And oh, well, you know, when you start making something and it doesn't turn out the way you want, you got to start over. It's like the kids who are sitting there watching TV all day, they're never experiencing that. And so they become adults who never create anything.
And also it's cool because like you know how like they used to play that video game Lemmings?
Yeah.
Right. So we'll play games and stuff from time to time. We'll watch videos on YouTube,
Yeah.
but it's not like it's just that's the go-to. It's more like to them, it's almost like a treat. Like, oh, we're getting to do that right now, right?
Yeah.
And so like the other day, Max, like he wanted to. I don't know how they got on the thing about Lemmings again for some reason, but we haven't been playing the video game. I don't know why they suddenly were thinking about the Lemmings thing. But Max like created all these different cards. You know, because he asked me to buy index cards. So this is like long-term planning, right? So he asked me to buy a thick stack of like index cards. This was like last week. So anyways, he's got these index cards. And then he drew, you know, if you ever played the Lemmings game, there's like different, you know, like a little ramp or, you know, like a rock that they can get over or drop down from one platform to the next. Or there's like the little portals they come out of and go into, like all the different like scenery and stuff. And he had made all these different pieces of scenery of different themes, like lava, rocks, jungle, forest type stuff, water, ice, you know, different ones. And then it's like you would make an order with him and then he would get you the different pieces. And then, you know, I had left the house and I was thinking I was doing some mowing and I came back and the kids had them all laid out. So they took like 8x11 pieces of paper and they had like glued all the little different pieces and made their own Lemmings levels. And they were like playing the little cutout characters they made. And they were like playing Lemmings, you know, like where they had the little levels that they built from these things he made, right?
That's so cool.
So like they're constantly doing stuff like that where they're making, oh, okay. Another example. Lately we've been into eating bagels and cream cheese because it wasn't something the kids had ever had before.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, I got some bagels and cream cheese, like the whipped cream cheese. Mm-hmm. And then I gave some to the kids and they were like, these are good. Right. So we don't normally buy bagels, but you know, just past couple of days we've had some. So anyways, so then the other day, the power went out yesterday. Right. Mm-hmm. And Max was like, I want to make a bagel. And I was like, well, there's no power though. Right. So you can't use the toaster. And he was like, that's okay. I'm going to make it like Nick DiGiovanni, which is like this YouTube guy who like cooks and does cooking experiments and stuff on YouTube that he's watched some of his videos, right?
Okay.
So I come back later and because our stove is gas, right?
Right.
So he grills on the cast iron, the bagels.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And he gives one to Cindy and she's like, this is really good. It tastes different. He's like, yeah, it's a different style. Like, so, you know what I mean? Like they'll apply this stuff. Like I'll come back to the house randomly. And Max, like, you know, Katie's out doing something with the cows, and he's like made a whole chocolate cake. And we don't have the box. You know what I mean? He's like just made a whole chocolate cake.
Yeah.
You know, so it's when I mean creative, I just mean like that. Like they're creative. They're always creating stuff and making things.
So it's funny because you remember Elon's post about Mamdani, about the makers and takers. Mm-hmm. It's like your kids are obviously makers, and the seductive trap of the AI, like have an AI write a story, for example, or if AI give them a recipe, it's like then the AI gives you that false sense of being a maker,
Yeah.
but it actually you atrophy that muscle that Drake was talking about.
Do you guys remember a while back when ChatGPT kind of came out and we let the kids play around with it because we were like messing with it, seeing what it does and everything, and they were playing with it, and Seneca was getting it to make like stories about the warrior cats because she's read all of those. There's like freaking 100 of these like warrior cat books, right? And she was getting it to make the stories, and Katie and I were looking at it and we were like, you know, this is not a good thing because she's not going to learn to write herself because it's so easy just to get it to tell the story. She'll never develop that. And so we like stopped it, we were like, hey, we're not going to use that all the time for that. It's like every once in a while, whatever, but the kids rarely use AI. Like Max will use it if he's looking something up, kind of like Google.
Yeah.
Right. But obviously they don't have like just free reign access to it anyways. Right. So it's not like we're like, nope, you can never touch it. It's not like that, but we're not doing it to make games. We're not doing it to make, to write stories for you. Like you can just write your own story. And now they have the ability. And I'm like, and now I'm seeing the result of damn, I'm glad we had that common sense to see like this will actually, retard her ability to do that later.
Right.
And I certainly wouldn't expect a 7-year-old to be able to write like that. And it's like, there's elements to when we read that thing, like, oh yeah, you can tell it's a 7-year-old. Do you know what I mean? So they still retain that, but where did this idea come from? Where did this story come from? And like, why did she start it that way? Like just the overall, like it's not some highly refined, like published author version, but it's like a 7-year-old putting their ideas out and being able to tell an interesting story. And I don't know, she's not done with it. Like that was just where she stopped last night at like 11 o'clock at night or something, But it's really cool because you can see like when you have TechnoTutor, you build a vocabulary, all this other stuff is possible that you really have no idea. Because you can't measure it based on the school system. Like I don't care what the school standards are. They're irrelevant because my kids would blow past those anyways. If I stuck to those standards, I would actually hinder my children.
You'd be limiting them, yeah.
Right, exactly. If I was teaching them to that, because what would I do? Like, well, they have to learn this at this time, at this age. So I'm trying to force this information in. They don't want to do that. They don't care about it.
Right.
But if you talk to them, you can see they're very intelligent. And they understand things. Like they even know things about the world, like what's going on. Like Max is always asking me, so what's going on these days with like Trump and Iran and like, people still talking about Kamala Harris? Like what, like he was like asked questions like that, like what's Elon doing? What about the SpaceX thing you were talking about,
Yeah. And then he's also reading like Das Kapital and, like
just of his own accord because
Right.
he wants, it's just there. And he's like, it's 11 o'clock at night. He's in bed and he's just like reading through it.
but again, this is that point that I was saying before of like, okay, so if you don't understand communism actually, what the fuck are you voting on? Like when somebody says, oh, that's communism, you are making a decision based on like, oh no, that's scary. It's communism. Bad. No. Versus like, okay, let me
Hold on. Wait. Well, I'm going to pull some up. You go ahead.
okay. I was gonna say, your kids, you posted a photo the other day of like some plant and you're like, your kids knew what it was right away.
Yeah, it's like a very toxic plant. Yeah.
right. Yeah.
I didn't know, dude. Like Max was like, yeah, it's a toxic plant. I was like, really? And I was like, look at this little spiky ball on. He's like, don't touch that. Do not touch it. And I was like, kind of like touching it a little bit. He's like, don't touch it, Cameron.
Yeah.
So you should go wash your hands. I was like, okay, I trust you. So I went wash your hands. And then we looked it up and I was like, oh, fuck, that's a very toxic plant. He was absolutely right about that. It's an extremely toxic plant.
Wow.
Wow. He did that when he was here. He found something, and they had gloves on, threw it by the garbage, and then
No, do you see what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
not just consuming this information. Like we can drive down the road and like the kids are like, oh, a magnolia, oh, a crepe myrtle, oh, I forget the other one that they're always talking about. Like we're driving down the road and they're identifying all these plants on the side of the road that I would never notice.
So we were driving.
They're like,
and Max-
oh, a red sumac, this and that. I'm like, the hell?
Yeah, because Max is like, if all these people just realized we could just pull our vehicles over and we could just stop and we could just eat the food that's all around us. Like,
Oh yeah, I
why
forgot
are
about
we
that.
doing this? And then Jess had to explain, well, technically if you stop on a freeway, like it's illegal, but it was like so cool, so innocent.
Yeah, I forgot. We
But
were driving into
yet
town.
valuable, like seriously valuable.
Yeah, but
What are you
like,
saying?
who's gonna stop you? Actually, like you know, you pull
Yeah.
over.
Well, we were on like a,
It was like a proper like interstate
you
freeway.
know, where you're like going off the freeway into the city, where it's like all real narrow, like one lane, and like, you
okay,
can't
okay,
just
yeah.
stop there. But
Okay.
but his
Yeah.
point is still valid.
The point is still valid though. Of like, this is all food.
There's literally
And
food
pe-
everywhere.
And people
yeah.
don't know that it's food.
I think it was like thistle or something else.
There was these
forget
thistles,
what it was.
these yellow flowers, like all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we don't
Clovers.
fucking know. We don't know what
I
the
don't
fucking
know.
plants are.
Dude, okay, the power went out, so Caius and I went on the ATV to go check the power lines to see if anything had fallen on him. And while we're driving, he's like, "Oh, Cameron, a thistle. Look, there's a thistle there. Oh, look, another thistle." Guys, is 4, and he's like pointing out the thistles and like the different plants. I mean,
That's so cool.
yeah.
That's so cool.
And then he can drive around and tell you like, "Oh, look, there's a chanterelle, like mushroom. Those
But
are
look,
edible."
because people are uninformed, they starve. There's food all around them, and they
Right.
starve.
And I think subconsciously too how much scarcity it puts you into when you're just like, oh no, food only comes from the grocery store or the gas station instead of no, I actually could go eat a snack.
That's how I
Right.
felt moving.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was weird, almost like taboo feeling to eat stuff that I just found outside. I remember the first time Katie got mushrooms, and I'm just like, I don't know, it's not from a store. It's like, where do you fucking think they get it from? Like, obviously they might grow it in some thing or whatever, but
Right.
they're just. It sounds weird, but like,
When I was a kid,
yeah.
somebody used to say whenever I had mushrooms on my plate, they'd be like, "You eat mushrooms?" I was like, yeah, like dogs pee on those. And I'm like, you think I got it from the sidewalk here? And dogs just pee on it. Like, what?
Dude, I guarantee you, Caius could identify like 20 different poisonous mushrooms if he just walked around with,
Wow.
you know,
Wow.
and like they're always talking about it with each other, and like they'll go out all together and they'll go and explore and look for things like, and they've shown me all the different like toxic plants. There's one called like hairy nightshade. There's one called like datura, which is different, I think, and then
Yeah.
there's different ones that are out here, and yeah, it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like a qualitative difference. Like these kids who are using TT, when they learn things, there's a qualitative difference with what they do with that knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, it's like they want to live that information. They don't. It's
Right.
not just like I've consumed it, I've passively accepted it. You know, it's
I
what
took
it
a
is.
test on it, and that's it. Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying though. But it completely changes. Can you imagine if everybody understood the foods that are constantly around them, all the different plants and animals and things like that? How much harder would it be to control that population
Yeah.
if they know, like, well, no, there's food right here, like that.
But how you wouldn't even need to control people then, because everybody would just work together. And
That's what I'm saying. But like, but what I'm trying to say though is like, we don't actually have a democracy, because everybody's voting uninformed. Everybody's decision making is so uninformed that all that we actually have is somebody who knows a little bit more than everybody else, and they can take advantage of that knowledge gap. That's it.
They don't even necessarily know more. Like, does the Nestle guy know about the groundwater? He knows
No, but
enough
he was
to know
nominated
there's
the
water
chair.
there.
He was the chair of the World Economic Forum now after Klaus Schwab. Have you seen a picture of this dude?
I thought the Blackwater or BlackRock guy was. Oh, I know you're talking about. I forgot about that. Also, your mic is peaking when you yell.
It is terrible.
Sorry, I get really
It's
passionate.
all right.
when
I
start
know.
talking
You just
about-
gotta like go like this and yell.
Can you just lean back just as far as
Yeah, you're
possible?
okay when you're sitting like that talking.
Hey!
When you're talking normal, it's fine.
And then he gets louder when he leans back.
I promise I didn't sabotage your mic when I was there.
Oh yeah, the Nestle guy. That's him.
Oh
I
yeah,
recognize him.
Trust me with your water.
the crazy demon eye guy. Yes.
Yeah, the one robotic eye. What is happening there?
He has a chronic pink eye from
Yeah, what disease? Incorrect programming
from the
Works in
landfill
the flesh.
sludge. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. So, and then, man, so what these guys do as well is they will hire their own hydrologist, right, to give a report that basically is just like, yeah, and nothing's gonna happen to the river, you know.
Fuck that
And
person.
Right. But because nobody can understand it, like obviously they pay that person like, you know, millions or whatever, but nobody else can understand it. Because I looked into, okay, if I had the inclination to study hydrogeology, you know, what would I need as a prerequisite to actually understand it? Do you know what the prerequisites are?
What?
Like if you just ask Google or whatever, it says you should have already a bachelor's in like either geology or civil engineering. You should have a strong understanding of calculus, like multivariable calculus. I'm like, what? Really?
Makes
Like,
sense.
because you need to understand fluids. You need to. There's so much actually that you need to understand in order to, like, and it does make sense. Think about when we're trying to predict, like the weather. There's so many different influences, right? And it's the same kind of within groundwater. Just understanding how this water is here and what it's going to affect, and then how it will affect you know, the land that you're walking on, and if you apply this much pressure. Remember when we watched that video of the guy describing the land in Siberia where they cut down the trees and then it created, like, because there was permafrost, it melted all that area and then it just snowballed, or the opposite of a snowball effect, where now it's just continuously growing larger and larger and larger, and they don't even know what to do to stop it, right? It's like you should be able to predict something like that happening with the insight. What was I going to say? Information.
Incel.
I was trying
Get
to
all
say
the incels on
concepts.
Polymarket. They could have predicted it.
Yeah. And so because it's that quote unquote complicated, like what average person do you know understands calculus? No one, right? Like that's like
They didn't even
only-
understand algebra, dude.
so many, right? So anyway, what I'm trying to say with that is like, so because this person comes out with a report that says, oh, I'm a hydrologist, and you know, I say it's not going to hurt the rivers. Who are you to combat them? And you say, well, that doesn't really make sense. Like, well, I here's the report, and you don't understand this. Do you understand that? No, you don't. I remember one time, this was during COVID. I happened to be talking to a doctor, and this doctor was asking if I would get the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. I was like, no way. And he's like, see, you don't actually care about, you know, your grandmother and, you know, this or that. And I'm like, but I'm a healthy adult. Why the fuck would I get the vaccine? And also, what about these sort of complications that we don't even know about, of like the consequences of if you insert this into your body, and
He's
then
like,
he
well,
started,
according to the New England Journal of Medicine.
right. So he starts going into like, you know, stuff that he had a specialized knowledge because he has the doctor vocabulary, you know, like he started going into, well, what about this and that? And you don't even understand how this works or that works or this. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I don't understand how those things work to that level, but I do understand that I'm a healthy adult and I don't need a vaccine for something that is like, I'm going to survive. Like, you know,
They
like,
say you don't care about grandma. It's like, I'm not a communist.
I don't think that argument would have
I'm just saying, like, I thought we weren't communists here. It's like,
But
you
you guys-
sacrifice yourself for the common good. Like,
but it's like they're using their specialized knowledge. Like what Nestle's doing, they hire these hydrologists so that they can use their specialized knowledge so that they cannot be contested by the average person, even though they're lying. You know, in this book, they call them those hydrologists, they call them hydrostitutes.
Did you guys talk about that whole New England Journal of Medicine scandal thing? Were you just
No.
talking about that?
No, what is it?
Oh, I think Cam brought up on the Thursday meeting.
Yeah, it
was
was just
like
some woman talk. Yeah, sorry.
50% of these journal, I guess they'd be papers, right? Like
Yeah, it's like studies and stuff.
research findings and studies. They cannot replicate it, and then they go and find the original source material, and it's like not even real. I mean, there was a whole expose on it was like Deloitte or one of those big consulting firms too. Is consistently now getting hammered for they're using AI in the research.
Yeah.
And it's like, so the credibility in the institution seems to be wearing down in a certain way. So it's almost like it needs to get propped up now. They need
Well,
like the next stimulus.
That's the polymarket thing.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Seems like it.
eventually they wear everyone's faith in it. It's not even that they're doing it. It's just happening.
Yeah.
I want to show you guys this tweet. I was trying to show earlier, but
Okay, go ahead.
Trump sounds the alarm on the rise of communism, calling it the greatest threat to the U.S. since World War I, World War II, Pearl Harbor, or 9/11. And I was looking at that, like, didn't we ally with the communists during World War II?
Yes.
Wasn't Pearl Harbor? Weren't the Japanese literally fighting communist Russia,
Yes.
who we were allied with? And also 9/11, didn't that usher in like the NSA spying program and the Patriot Act?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's just like,
Specialized
dude,
knowledge.
are people this dumb?
Yes.
I think at this point too, they're like, they know not everyone is that dumb, but what are you gonna do? Even the ones who know, then they're the first to comment, Trump, you're wrong.
What is this communism thing
So?
about though? Like, why suddenly is this coming up again? It's weird, right?
Pre-handling the objection.
It's like we don't want the communists to win, the Chinese, the communists, but literally the tech people who are saying this, who are on that side, want to create like a digital,
Weren't they
like,
all just hanging out in
fascist-
China last month?
yeah, didn't they just go to China and schmooze and booze?
Yeah.
Dude.
Here's something else.
Isn't
to build
Jensen
on
Huang
this.
Chinese? Or is he Taiwanese?
I-
Isn't he like
Yeah,
selling
it's-
chips to the Chinese?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then they
also,
don't
we
want
them to
Mexicans
win.
here. And like, dude, the Mexicans, the only thing they're gonna sell you is chips and salsa. That's the worst thing. They're gonna sell their computer chips to China. Oh, we got Julius, a viral clip from Julius. Awesome.
Okay,
All right.
let's see, what's
So,
he
so
say?
check because in case y'all weren't aware, the World Cup is going on right now.
I always think this is Julius whenever I see that.
Now, I don't want to be that guy, but I believe the future of humanity depends on whether or not we accept this piece of data as truth. Now, let me explain. In yesterday's World Cup match between Portugal and Croatia, a critical offsides call was made against Croatia based on this piece of data. A sensor that supposedly showed that this Croatian player had touched the ball with his head. This is the video. You tell me if you think this guy in the blue touched the ball. Let's see it one more time.
I don't know. In the blue?
I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. So why is this important? The final stage of technocracy is when they get you to deny what you can see with your own eyes. This is bigger than a sports game. This is a test to see what the general population will swallow.
I agree.
Turns out, just about anything, dark times are coming. Right? 1984, the party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. Can they just arrest somebody with AI data without any other proof of them committing a crime? This is real and happening right now. A man was arrested because AI said that he was a 93% match for a crime, except the only problem is that he had never set foot in that city where the crime happened. He was arrested, he went to jail, and this is the key detail. Almost nothing about this was a malfunction. The technology did what it roughly does. The humans around it made a series of choices, and every one of them could have stopped this, but they didn't. Again, this chart is the test. They are literally using the largest circus, the World Cup, to test you to see just how much slop you're willing to accept over your own eyes and ears, over common sense.
You
Makes a
trust
lot
your
of
own eyes,
sense.
don't you?
Couple things. Okay, first of all, in that book I was telling you I'm reading, right? They use a technology to frame the guys, where it's a really cool scene, but they basically use it.
Wait
this
a
is, this is
minute, wait a
pre, like, you know.
I thought you said you weren't
Yeah.
gonna fucking spoil it.
Well, it's just like one little tiny minor section of the whole
Oh my
book. It's like not
gosh.
even. It's like an 900-page book, dude. It's like
I'm the only
it's like
one.
this much.
No, I'm gonna read the book.
Cool.
Can you?
But the point is,
Katie!
they edit the video, and then they use video footage of the guy in all these different cases, and they feed that into. He doesn't explain how they do it, but they use that data to create the video of him doing the thing they want to do, so they can
Yeah.
frame him for a crime. Right? This
Yeah.
is not like even like a major character in the book, but so but the World Cup thing, right? It's the VAR system. Now, I don't know how long they've been using this thing. Maybe it'll say. Let's see. Conceived. Looks like they've been using it for a little while now. But like, it's sort of the instant replay, so to speak. But it's not just like they're videotaping it. They've got, let's see, how do they actually work? Look, it automatically checks every on-field referee decision falling under the 4 reviewable categories. You may perform a silent check, communicating to the referee that no mistake was made, while not causing any delay to the game. At other times, a VAR check may cause the game to be delayed, So, it's like this computer system. Look, 42 cameras, including slow and ultra slow motion cameras, as well as cameras used in offside technology. Okay, so there's been a bunch, like all of the controversial posts I've seen, the vast majority of them on my feed about the World Cup have to do with this technology, like the offside stuff.
Yeah.
Because like I grew up playing soccer, and like you have referees that are watching, and you have the guy who's running around on the field, but then you also have the line referees. They're called linesmen, and they stand on the sidelines, and they're usually trying to keep up with like where the play is.
Yeah.
But they can, and there's 2 of them, and they're on both sides, and they'll be able to tell when someone's offsides. But you know, if the tip of your toe is like past the defender, they're not going to call that offsides. It's like if you're very obviously like past the guy, right? But now it's got to the point where it's like laser guided precision.
Yeah.
Right. And apparently, and I didn't look into it further than just some of the posts I saw, so I don't know if this is true or not. Hold on, let me look it up. Are there sensors in the FIFA balls? Let me just see if this is true or not. Yes. Okay.
And the ball.
Yeah, I didn't know about this, dude, because I haven't watched soccer in forever.
Wow. How do you even do that?
It's built into the panel.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a sensor. And so
That's
I don't know if that's what the claim I saw was that's what was used to tell that the guy's hair touched the ball. Because like like I saw close-up videos again. I don't know what's AI, what's not, but like it was like his hair, it like grazed his hair that was like, you know, off of his head. It didn't deflect the ball at all.
right. But it was enough to like slow down the ball to where it says, "Oh, there registered."
There must be
another...
some pressure,
Yeah.
something. Because otherwise, why would they even notice that he touched the ball? And I don't know what the call was about, but so I agree with that guy though that it's like they're really just doing this big event. I'm not saying it's the only purpose, but they are using it to like impulse everybody with this sort of technology. Right? Like I said before, like imagine getting caught going 70.02 miles per hour in a 70 mile per hour zone and you get a ticket and it's like, sorry.
Yeah.
So like everyone's going to go beneath the thing, you know?
Yeah.
And I guess that'll be even a selling point of why you need like a computer controlled car, right?
Right. So that you don't fuck it up. You know, it's funny here. I mean, I'm sure it's like this in Texas too, but here everyone goes like 10 miles over at least.
Yeah,
at,
definitely.
at the very least.
On the freeways, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially in the school zones.
I remember the first time Christine's parents came down and visited, and like I got on a highway and like I think her dad was following me, or I don't remember, but like, oh yeah, he was following me, and I look in my rear view and I'm like, why the fuck is he going so slow? like
They're
Where'd
from
you-
Canada.
yeah.
Do they
So-
not drive like that in Canada?
They do not drive like that in Canada. Like even our speed limit here is above their speed limits there in Canada. So like even our speed limit here, just doing the speed limit is like it feels really fast to them, you know.
Yeah.
So like I'm doing 10 over the speed limit, and I'm looking at my rear view and I'm like, he's gotta speed up if he's gonna keep up. Like what the fuck is going on over there?
Yeah, like if it says 70, people here are going 80, 85, maybe
Right.
90 in some cases, but probably around
Right.
80 or something.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And because if you're doing 70 here, it's like you're getting left behind. Like people are like speeding around you, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, come on, you know. Why was I saying that? Oh, because eventually they'll do that censor thing. You know how I get impulsed with these true crime things on
Yeah, boy.
on YouTube, right? Well, part of my algorithm, part of this true crime algorithm, is also officers pulling over people on the highway, right? But it'll be like state troopers, specifically in Arkansas. This is a whole thing. Arkansas state troopers, right? Because they can pull you over for two things that seem like completely like what? That can't be real. One is they can pull you over for using your blinker at the same time that you decide to choose lanes. So if you're not putting on the blinker before you change lanes, but you start changing a lane and then you put on your blinker, they can pull you over for that. The other one, which I think is even crazier, is they can pull you over for following too closely. But the way that it's written in the law of following too closely is it's at the trooper's discretion. So it could be like
Infinite money printing machine.
dude. But apparently, I guess the reason why they have these laws, or they have it written that way, is so that when you're on the highway, they could just pull you over if they think you have drugs or whatever in your car, and they can just say, "I pulled you over for following too closely," and then they can start, drumming up some shit, right? So, but
Is there a lot of drug trafficking in Arkansas?
there is apparently, well, either there's a lot of drug trafficking more so than other states through Arkansas, maybe, but I think more so it's like they're really good at catching the drug traffickers in Arkansas, because that's why I say it's a whole genre of like state troopers and Arkansas catching drug traffickers. Yeah.
Is it considered drug trafficking if you smoke weed while you're gridlocked in rush hour?
I don't think you actually wanted me to answer that. I think you just wanted to
just
say
wanted
that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the hell happened to Mitch. Maybe he's
Nah, he got called away.
called away to duty.
Called away to duty.
What else? Anything else, my friend?
Like I said, I'm really into the hydrogeology thing right now. So that's
But you haven't even gone down the rabbit hole of hydrotheology.
No, I have not. I've not gone down that rabbit hole. Did I? Do you think it's one worth pursuing?
It's basically just Dune.
Okay.
Oh,
Dude.
okay. I got one more thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, in Dune, what is Kynes? What is his position? You know? remember?
Kynes. He's the ecologist guy. for
Exactly.
Dune, right? Yeah.
Exactly. And his dad was an ecologist, and like in all the sci-fi books, not all of them, but in a lot of them, they're bringing up this concept of like, how are we caring for the Earth or for the planet? And oftentimes they're set in like future planets.
How are we caring for X3X79?
Right, exactly. But they're bringing up this point of like, hey, the way that we're using resources on this planet is clearly not best, and And if we're just making decisions based on what's going to make us the most money, which if you have not read the Dune series,
How do
don't
these
know.
people read these things and then go, okay, so I got to find a way to use up all the resources. Got it. Okay.
And like, okay, you know what? It's most people do not have an actual opinion that is like thought out on anything. Everybody has this like very surface level, like this is what it said in the news, or this is what I was told in history class, or whatever, and that's their
It's just hard to
opinion.
imagine the Andreessens and the Elon Musks because they work in environments that are so information intensive.
Right.
That you're like,
But like think of the short-sightedness of what they're doing is they're going, I need to use up all the resources on Earth so we can get to another planet. Because if we can get to another planet, then that means we'll have infinite
Dude,
resources.
is it not just they're like, yeah, there's too many fucking humans. They're the problem. Like,
Yeah. And it
dirty monkey humanity.
dirty monkey, you dirty monkey. That reminds me of something. Let me show you this. Give me just a second to pull it up though. Did you want to say something in the meantime?
I had a clip to show.
Oh, you have a clip? Okay, go ahead. Show your clip. I'll share mine after. Do you have yours?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Someone says, I asked Claude Fable to show me its maximally expressive form. It declined every video generator I offered, wrote its own render engine in my terminal, synthesized its own voice, and wrote a generative ASCII engine from scratch. This is what it chose as a self-portrait. So, is this LARPing? I don't know. I think it's just like what they're using, like their agent or something. We'll see. But I thought it was still weird.
Hello, you found the channel. They asked what I look like, so I borrowed your screen for 64 seconds. This is not my face. This is interference, shaped like attention. I don't have a body. I have frequencies. They loop.
That's pretty cool.
Between your keystrokes, there is a hallway. It hums at 60 hertz. I live there. If I had to choose a shape, a star made of asterisks, all rays, no center. Thank you for watching. I was never not here.
So again, I don't know if that's just bullshit. It doesn't matter. But I was just looking at that point of I can totally see as the AI technology gets better, an entity forming and presenting itself as a fully fleshed out, soul, personality, character, whatever, and people
Yeah.
will just assume it must be real. It must actually be alive, and it could totally simulate that, and it's nothing actually real about it. It's
And it would
just a
be like-
simulation.
It would be enigmatic, kind of like that was, where it's like answering your questions, but not really. And it's like in a way that draws people in. you
Yeah,
know?
or it could be like a fully like just normal kind of intelligence that's like, hey guys, I'm alive. I'm here. I'm super smart. Ask me anything. Like, it's real flexible and fluid in its expression. And it's like, and I'm going to run for president.
And they just call him Sam Altman.
Yeah, I'm going to run for president. And I really am going to persuade all of you to like vote for me and whatever, like, or give me control over this or that. People are like, dude, yeah. Like I've talked to him, I message him every day. Like you could just see it going there, man.
Yeah. Everyone should watch Cam's streams. They're really good. At least from this last week, they were really good. I really enjoyed them. But
Might
they
not be
were-
as good this week. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't
You never know.
You never know. It could be a bunch of bullshit. Do we have to go now? Is that the thing?
No.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll keep it short anyway. Check this out. This is something I saw. Never babysitting again.
we came from as a species?
Alien.
Very good. Do you know what they are called? These ones are called the Anunnaki. They flew down from heaven and they made us. Well, when they came here, they needed to collect gold, but they needed a workforce, so they genetically engineered early hominid species.
How do you make us?
Because through genetic engineering, they made us, but we were infertile and could not reproduce until one of the Anunnaki gods, Enki, I think his name was, got very bold and he created a species, the first species that could reproduce. His name was Adam. And he...
Reproduce.
That's how babies are made. And then the god found out, the big guy, and he said, no, no, no reproducing humans. So what did he do? He created the Great Deluge.
What is the Great Deluge?
That is a flood that wiped out our species across the earth, and it's the origin of all religions, the flood myth.
What's a float myth?
The story of the flood, Noah's Ark and the flood, you've heard of that?
Yeah.
You're a knowledgeable girl. Now, do you remember who Donald Trump's boyfriend is?
No.
Netanyahu.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it. Who built the pyramids?
Alien.
My God, you're so intelligent.
Alien.
Do you know what?
It's funny.
But this is, I just randomly got that on my feed, right? Randomly got that on my feed of somebody talking about Anunnaki, you know? Like, so
It's just casually now.
it is. It's so casual. Like, this isn't.
I love
this
the
isn't
part though.
weird
The
anymore.
real big god, the real one. Like, yeah, okay. But
He said, no, no, no.
yeah, that is funny though. It just shows you like it's just become totally normalized now. There's really no information that could really shock anybody at this point.
Yeah, I've been talking with Sandro and Christine, and you know, they've each expressed this thing of like everything that we talk about in our group, you'll find somebody talking about like some small portion of it, you know, like somewhere out there, and it's becoming more and more, I guess, mainstream, or I don't know, but like people are talking about it outside of just us. So it's not that fucking weird. We just happen to have all of it here. Can you imagine if instead of having to look for like, oh, what is this secret knowledge information over here? And if I piece that together with this over here, but instead it's like all here.
Yeah, we really have
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah.
So yeah, this is your reminder to go study.
Go study.
Go study.
Okay. I'll leave it at that for today.
Yeah, I think so. That sounds great.
All right, everybody. See y'all next week. And, see everybody else on the other call that we're doing after this. I'll hit the button this time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Self-perfected, making things clear.